and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon, and this is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. KSL's top story this hour. We are continuing to gather details about why an SUV crashed into a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints meeting house in West Valley City. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
New arrest documents are now telling us Gabriel Manuel Gutierrez and his girlfriend were arguing and drinking before the SUV they were in crashed into the church near 3100 West and 4700 South last night. We don't know how old she is, but Gutierrez is still 3 days shy of his 21st birthday. He was booked into jail, and it turns out this is far from the first time. KSL looked through court records and found Gutierrez has at least 15 combined criminal and traffic cases on his record since 2022. That includes a felony charge for failing to stop at an officer's command, which he entered a plea deal to reduce to a misdemeanor. He was also accused of going over 100 miles an hour on the freeway in Kaysville last year. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
One person is dead, another is in jail after shots were fired in Ogden this weekend. Police say both the suspect and the victim are under the age of 18. This happened in the area of 35th Street and Jackson Avenue. Police say they found and arrested the suspect out of Syracuse later that same day. Now, this comes not even 2 weeks after 16-year-old Mason Caballero died after being shot near Ben Lomond High School. A 16-year-old was arrested in that case. Some Utah lawmakers say it doesn't make sense that Congress still gets paid during a government shutdown. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera explains what one Utah congressman wants to change.
Utah Representative Mike Kennedy says if federal workers lose pay during a shutdown, Congress should too. Most members earn about $174,000 a year, according to the Congressional Research Service. Kennedy's No Work, No Pay Act would stop those paychecks anytime lawmakers fail to pass a budget.
That is for congressmen. If we're not going to pass a budget, if we're not going to fund the government, we aren't going to get paid either. I just think that that's totally appropriate.
Kennedy's bill, H.R. 5637, would take effect next Congress. Legal experts note similar proposals have faced questions under the 27th Amendment, which bars changes to congressional pay until after an election. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Without pay during the government shutdown, staff at Zion National Park are starting to struggle. Director of Development for the Zion Forever Project, Tiffany Stouffer, encourages visitors to show gratitude for the few workers left at the park.
They're our neighbors, they're our friends, they're, a part of the fabric of southern Utah. And they're suffering, right? And the long-term implications of all of this is that, visitors will suffer in the future. The resource, the wildlife, the plants, the geology, that can all be impacted.
If you would like to donate to the park, you can visit zionpark.org. A man who is accused of damaging wells in San Juan County has been arrested. Officials say the timing couldn't be worse.
They need that water right now. This is when their cows graze.
Utah Department of Agriculture's Troy Forrest says solar panels for several 1,000-foot deep wells were smashed on Friday. Forrest says the panels are used to help pump the water to the surface and send water to troughs for grazing cattle. Ranchers say the panels could cost up to $30,000 to replace. Forrest says cattle grazing can be a controversial topic, but a motive has not yet been identified. KSL's top national stories. A ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is shaky after a weekend full of problems. Israel claims 2 IDF soldiers were killed and retaliated with strikes on Gaza that killed 44 people. ABC's Tom Sufi-Burridge has more.
In a signal of how fragile things are, we've seen smoke rising from southern Gaza this morning. Our producer on the ground hearing explosions, but saying he thinks that incident happening beyond what's known as the yellow line. That is the line between the territory from which the IDF has withdrawn from in western Gaza near to the coast and the territory to the east of that, a very significant strip of land which the IDF is still controlling. It is called the Red Zone. That incident potentially happening in the Red Zone. It's not clear exactly what happened.
It prompted U.S. officials to evacuate back to Israel, including White House envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. The Trump administration is still targeting boats in the Caribbean that they believe are drug cartels. More from ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce.
To justify using the U.S. military to kill suspected smugglers rather than arrest them, Trump has declared that the U.S. is in a formal armed conflict and the drug cartels are unlawful combatants. But the administration has provided few details and no evidence to back up their claims that the 32 alleged traffickers killed so far were attempting to smuggle drugs. Questions about the legality of these strikes now raising serious concern from both sides of the aisle.
President Trump claims those strikes have saved more than 100,000 American lives. First look traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
It is Tito today, but good afternoon.
Tito.
Sorry about that. We just have some heavy delays northbound I-215 west between California exit and 5th South and Salt Lake. Other than that, looking pretty good out there. Maria?
Thank you, Tito.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes in new inventory every day. Then they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. So you're invited to visit the movie show Friday 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top story. Man accused of driving under the influence and crashing into a church has 15 criminal and traffic cases on his record. KSL News Time 12:07. The Louvre is closed today after several people disguised as construction workers broke into the museum and made out with centuries-old jewels. ABC's James Longman is in Paris.
The suspects making off with 8 items, including sets of sapphire and emerald necklaces and earrings, 2 diadems and elaborate diamond brooches. It all played out 9:30 Sunday morning. Officials immediately shutting down the museum.
The raid lasted 7 minutes before the thieves escaped on scooters. A thrift shop run by high school students opens this week. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has more.
Second Flight Thrift is a passion project of sophomore Hudson McFarland and junior Connor Newton. The principal of Weber Innovation High has even given them their own classroom to run the business out of. McFarland says they have big plans for any profits made.
We're hoping to maybe do a scholarship program since most of us in the club are in FBLA. Hopefully some of the money can go into paying for our nationals trip.
Many of the clothes are donated or purchased by the founding members. They've even taken up sewing to help mend damaged clothes to resell. The grand opening pop-up shop is open to the public Thursday from 3 to 6 at Weber Innovation High in Ogden. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Classes at Salt Lake Community College's Lifetime Activities Center in Taylorsville have been relocated because of a water line break that caused significant damage. Students are being told to check their Canvas accounts to find out where their classes will be held. An artist from Salt Lake is being featured at 30 Rockefeller Center. It's an art display to celebrate the NBA coming back to NBC, and artist Trent Call designed a giant basketball specifically for the Jazz. NBC affiliate marketing coordinator Julia Kolendensky says that the unique artwork is meant to align with the team's vision and how they want to be viewed.
For the 30 different NBA teams, for fans to kind of engage with on site, take pictures, really look at, read about the artists.
The Jazz basketball art installment will be up through tomorrow, and then it will be sent back to Salt Lake City. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Tito Nani.
We've got heavy delays if you're heading northbound on I-215 West between the California Avenue exit and 5th South in Salt Lake. It appears to be due to construction. Also a new accident on northbound I-15 in Utah County. This is on Main Street, Santaquin. Significant delays starting at the Highway 6 interchange as you make your way north into Payson. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cyprus Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypruscu.com today. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
A cooler air mass has moved in overnight. I've got a high of only 55 today, partly cloudy skies. Overnight, cold, 39 degrees, clear skies. Tomorrow, 61, mostly sunny. By Wednesday, partly cloudy in the north, chance for showers down south. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And a lot of beautiful sunshine right now in downtown Salt Lake City, but it's coolish, 52 degrees. And coming up on Midday with Maria Shilaos, we will look into that Amazon Web Services outage this morning and speak to Brandon Amaker, director at the Center for National Security Studies at UVU. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. All right. Did you eat your feelings over the weekend, eat your emotions with that big rivalry game? And no matter which side you were on, it was a close game, and it was tough. And it was tough not to just eat all the snacks around me. You know, the battle is real for weight loss. But if you've reached that point where you really just want to take off that extra weight, this is a great time to do it before the holidays. That way you're not going to be just so tempted to eat all of those treats before we actually get there. I've been working with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. They've helped me lose more than 40 pounds. This is an all-natural plan. It strategically uses a combination of foods to help you drop the weight fast. And that means that you will stick with it when you see those pounds come off quickly. Since it's all natural, there's no need to worry about any sort of side effects from medications, and it's not as expensive as other plans because you aren't required to buy things like breakfast bars and shakes. My husband, I lost more than 40. He lost more than 50 pounds on the program, and he wasn't even following the program. He was just eating the foods that I was eating. They also have a great app. Right now, find out how you can save $200 with their fall special at slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back pain get worse as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100% pain-free.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system, I put them in my shoes, walked out of the store. All the pain was gone. My back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you and schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
KSL News Time 12:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
we're learning more about the man accused of driving under the influence before crashing into a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints meeting house in West Valley City. Court records show he's had numerous run-ins with police. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, national parks are serving just as many visitors this fall, but without funding from entrance fees and with a much smaller staff who aren't getting paid. They're not sure how long they can sustain that. Third, traffic and weather together, Tito.
Good speeds and no major delays all throughout the valley. Maria?
Courtesy of last night's cold front, will be 20 degrees cooler. Highs will only top in the 50s today. I'm Matt Johnson.
52 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The government shut down now in day 20 with both parties no closer to finding a funding fix. The Senate will take up another clean spending bill today, passed by the House weeks ago. House Speaker Mike Johnson putting the blame on Democrats, he says, for pushing to refits and for getting behind the weekend No Kings rally.
This is the first time in history that any party has had the audacity to shut down the government over a totally clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution. This is a political stunt.
Democrats say Republicans have control over the House, Senate, and White House and need to engage in talks to find a compromise. Organizers of the No King rally say nearly 7 million people took to the streets in more than 2,700 cities and towns across the country to protest what they call an abuse of power by President Trump. There were no immediate reports of violent incidents or arrests, according to local police departments, including New York City's NYPD. President Trump at the White House hosting Australia's Prime Minister today, announcing a deal for the U.S. to access rare earth minerals. ABC's Karen Travers says the president says China has to strike a deal on trade before the November 1st deadline.
He is certainly looking at the U.S.-Australia relationship as a counter to China, and he is looking to get the United States away from relying on China for those rare earth minerals, which are so critical for electronics, for semiconductors. And he talked there at length about the trade tensions right now with China, saying that the Chinese are using those rare earths against the United States, but he can use tariffs in reverse.
President Trump also says he believes Hamas will eventually disarm, even though there are reports of violence as it patrols the streets. The ceasefire deal between Hamas and Israel remains shaky after 2 IDF soldiers were killed this weekend. The IDF retaliating with strikes. A Hamas health ministry says 44 people were killed. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The Amazon Web Services outage interrupted business around the world this morning. Director at the Center for National Security Studies at UVU, Brandon Amaker, is joining me now live. Brandon, thanks for being with me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Describe how an outage like this just affects the flow of business around the world.
Yeah, these things are really interesting, and they can have kind of a cascading effect. It may not be that, like massive swaths of the internet go down, but I mean, you have a logistics company which is unable to fulfill orders because the service which they use to track orders goes down. And then that, over the long term will affect their customers, their clients, and kind of the flow of things downstream. So it can really start small, but over time, the longer these things persist, the greater kind of the economic impact and the disruption becomes.
So what is the latest? We heard that it was back up and then it was back down. Any idea where we are at this point?
Yeah, it does seem to be in flux right now. There have been reports that, it seems to be back up. I know that some of the services that I've been monitoring, that is not the case, that they are still down. So, these things can be interesting in that it's always a bit of a, putting out fires situation where you might have situations where a percentage of the services are restored, but the entirety remains offline, or that different services may go on and off as they try to get the situation under control. And it appears that that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, we heard earlier that they don't believe anything nefarious is involved here. Do we have any idea exactly what did happen?
At this point, no, but I will say, historically speaking, cyber attacks are a possibility for this type of thing, but they're not typically the root cause of these major outages. For example, the biggest outage that we kind of comes to mind is the 2017 AWS outage, which was caused by user misconfiguration and user error. And so typically with these large-scale outages, it's usually a technical or an operator issue, which just kind of cascades and gets out of control. So if we're talking about, based on historical data, what's the most probable, I'm guessing it would be something like that. But I don't think we can completely rule out something nefarious at this point either, although it's unlikely.
So is there anything businesses like Amazon can do to prevent these things from happening?
There is, and they do take a lot of measures in order to try to build redundancy into these systems. The difficulty is it's just a very complex system to operate and to maintain service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So that is it's a balancing act, and I mean the massive amounts of load that they carry, keeping that up persistently can be difficult. However, they do take a lot of steps, including building redundant data centers, trying to have policies and procedures in place to mitigate the risk of this happening. But as you can see, you can never mitigate that risk down to zero, and even the best, most capable companies will struggle with this type of thing from time to time.
As an expert, what were your thoughts when you heard this had happened this morning, or when you couldn't get on your apps this morning?
I mean, it means I'm going to have to delay for a little bit. But, these things...
Oh, shoot. Sorry, Brennan, you dropped out for just a second there. Yeah, go ahead. What were you saying? How you were impacted by it? Go ahead.
Apologies. Yeah, I mean, these things are not necessarily surprising, although they're irritating. They do happen. It seems like you have one of these, maybe once a year, and the scale does fluctuate quite a bit. What will really be determinative of how big of a deal this is how long are these systems down for? If they can get it resolved this afternoon, this will be something that is obnoxious but not necessarily destructive. If these outages persist over a day, the negative effects compound over time. As you say, these all of a sudden things downstream start to be affected. There actually starts to be a more quantifiable monetary damage to this and reputational damage to some of these businesses, which are going to have to just have their services disrupted or halted for a time.
All right, Brandon, appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is the director at the Center for National Security Studies at UVU, Brandon Amaker. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. A beautiful day, Tito. Is it beautiful on the roads as well?
Still beautiful in Salt Lake County. However, we're still dealing with some heavy delays in Utah County. This is due to that accident from earlier on northbound I-15 in Santaquin. These delays linger between Santaquin as you make your way up into Payson. Titanic, the exhibition, opens October 17th at the Shops at Southtown. Step aboard to experience full-scale recreations, see artifacts, and hear real passenger stories. Don't miss it. Book passage today at titanicexhibition.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, partly cloudy today with a high 55. We'll bounce back to 61 tomorrow, mostly sunny. Increased cloud cover on Wednesday, we'll call it partly cloudy, 65. 63 mostly sunny skies on Thursday. Friday, we're back up to 67, partly cloudy. Then a weekend storm with its eyes on northern Utah. I got 64 Saturday, chance for showers. And then headed into Sunday, rain likely, 55. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it is a beautiful day. Still a bit chilly, though. 52 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And this portion of our news brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. A quick check of the markets. Wow, in truly good shape today, with all three indices up by more than 1%. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
I have to admit, it drives me nuts when we start talking about Christmas so early in the year, but it is a good time right now for you to make your reservations for the family gathering, for the company party, all kinds of special events during the holidays. Make your reservations right now. It's not too early at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. What a great way to welcome out-of-town guests, to thank your employees for a great year at your business. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse during the holidays, too, is just magical. The two locations, Hotel Park City, right up there in that beautiful mountain environment, and of course where all the hustle and bustle of the city is happening, 275 Southwest Temple in Salt Lake City. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse for the holidays, and you will get that perfectly prepared steak and so much more at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
It all started with a commitment to comfort. Gillette Heating and Air is proud to be Utah County's go-to team for expert HVAC and plumbing solutions. Need a repair, upgrade, or seasonal tune-up? Don't let cost hold you back. With 0% financing available, it's easy to get the work done now and pay later. Plus, save $100 on any repair over $500 and keep your system running strong with a professional tune-up before the heat hits. Visit GilletteHVAC.com or call 385-GET-COOL to book today. Homegrown service pros, financing made simple, comfort made easy.
Carrier. Turn to the experts. A Carrier factory authorized dealer.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. There were two similar manufacturing plants, two plant managers. To increase quality, one set out to enforce the rules so there would be no more mistakes. The other set out to create processes where everyone could learn from their mistakes. The first manager stood above, the second stood within. Over time, the second manager had much better results. Collaborative, continuous improvement that leverages learning is why cars and planes are safer, electronics are more reliable, surgeries are more successful. Learning how to improve is what makes USU's Huntsman School world-class. The internationally known Shingo Institute and the MBA program, both at Utah State University, have teamed up with a powerful degree that teaches MBA skills, continuous improvement, and organizational excellence. Consider a Shingo MBA. Go to utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
KSL News Time 1226. Americans still want to celebrate Halloween despite inflation and job insecurity.
The National Retail Federation says that on average, Americans will spend $114 per person for Halloween candy, decorations, and costumes. $1.4 billion will be spent collectively for kids' costumes, another $2 billion for adults. And the NRF says Americans will spend $860 million to dress up their pets.
Watching Utah's money, actor Dolph Lundgren of Rocky IV fame says the best financial advice he's received is to be the most interested in your own finances. He says he outsourced his money life to others for a while and they made bad decisions, including not paying his taxes on time, which cost him a lot in penalties. The horror flick Black Phone 2 took top spot at the box office this weekend with $26.5 million. Tron Ares only managed $11 million, a 66% decline from its opening weekend last week. And the latest Keanu Reeves movie, Good Fortune, took third with $6.2 million. The average household pays $184 a month for electricity and $141 for gas. New analysis from J.D. Power says prices are expected to continue to rise in the coming years. The reason: climate change is increasing the pace of natural disasters, and the cost to fix damaged infrastructure is passed on to customers. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 532 points, more than a full percent, sitting at 46,724. S&P up by 76. The NASDAQ is up by about 1.5%, up 334 points.
He did the Monster Mash.
A costume party in Michigan went to the dogs this weekend. Canines in Lansing's Old Town Art District strutted their stuff as everything from Elvis Presley to Scooby-Doo's Mystery Machine at the annual Halloween event. All participants walked away with a bucket full of biscuits. We'll check your traffic coming up next.
Cooler weather. What a relief. Unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill is going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off. on 10 windows or more. Double-pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and advanced windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. What's going on, Tito?
No more delays if you're heading on northbound on I-215 west between the 201 interchange and 5th South in Salt Lake. Looks like good speeds throughout all our major Wasatch Front freeways. However, further south in Utah County, that crash from earlier on northbound I-15 in Santaquin, there are delays that still linger as you make your way up into Payson. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Calling for partly cloudy skies today, high of 55 and plenty of sunshine to go around. 39 overnight, definitely on the cold side. 61 tomorrow, mostly sunny. Hey, we're up to 65, partly cloudy on Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 1230. KSL's top story this hour. Some Utah County voters say they are confused over conflicting information on their ballots this year. Do they or do they not need to provide details from other forms of ID in addition to signing the ballot? KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson is live to explain. Heather?
Maria, the issue goes back to a new state law that won't take effect until next year. Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson tells us his office printed return envelopes in bulk ahead of time with that new requirement in place, but he says that's led to a lot of issues. They found 790 ballots with signatures that didn't match, many of which he believes were people signing for a family member.
If the 4 digits matched and that there was a signature, not the correct signature, just that there was a signature, he had to approve that ballot as being valid.
He believes it's a kink in the new law the state legislature still has to work out. So between the primary and general election ballots that went back to the old envelopes but kept the same ballot instructions, which has caused the confusion. So he's clarifying for this year.
It's just the signature is necessary.
Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Utah is exploring what a state-approved digital ID could look like, one focused on privacy and security, but also protecting kids online. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joins me live to explain. Eric?
Maria, there's a growing urgency behind Utah's push for a digital ID, one designed to help people prove who they are online safely and securely. Chris Bramwell, the state's chief privacy officer, says the idea isn't just about convenience, it's about protecting families and stopping scams that have turned deadly for some teens.
These are grown adults pretending to be peers of these young men, and then they impersonate, and then they sextort, and we've had young men commit suicide. That is an identity fraud issue.
Bramwell says the state could start testing early versions as soon as next year, but only if it's done safely with privacy and security leading the way. Reporting live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Utah could help reduce the 325,000 homes the state is estimated to be short in 2055. CEO of Envision Utah, Jason Brown, tells Inside Sources it's not too late.
We can make changes. We can figure out how do we make sure that we have the infrastructure we need to open up some of the new development areas, or how do we make sure that we are using or in some cases redeveloping the opportunities in our existing cities and towns.
Brown says water, transportation, and sewer constraints could be addressed now to help with future home building. He says the best thing we can do for housing affordability is to balance supply and demand. A new development will add more than 1,200 new homes in Tooele County. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has details.
Just off SR 36 in Erta is 325 acres, which will have townhomes, single-family homes, and open space. The project, called Echo, is being built by developer Cole West. He tells KSL.com they will offer a variety of community amenities for everyone from families to first-time buyers and those looking to move up.
West says the infrastructure construction is already underway, with the first home going up next year. KSL's top national stories. President Trump says a new round of tariffs on Chinese goods will be announced November 1st. It comes as the Trump administration and China feud over rare earth minerals. At the White House today, the president signed a rare earth deal with Australia's prime minister in an effort to secure more from another country. More from ABC's Karen Travers at the White House.
This is something that the administration has accused China of extortion on. So we don't have details of what this actual agreement was that they just signed there in the cabinet room, but we had heard from administration officials saying that Australia is a significant potential supplier of those minerals and that they were looking to have a good relationship with Australia as they tried to shift away from a reliance, a dependence on China.
China currently dominates the market and controls 90% of rare earth production. Other national stories KSL is following. This weekend may have been the largest single-day protest in U.S. history. Millions turned out for the No Kings rallies. More from ABC's Rachel Scott.
Organizers say nearly 7 million people took to the streets for the No Kings protests to protest what they call an abuse of power by President Trump. The demonstrations happening in more than 2,000 cities and towns. 200,000 people showing up in the president's own backyard in Washington, D.C. The protesters say they were fueled by the president's sweeping cuts to the federal government, his crackdown on immigration, and his decision to send the National Guard into Democratic states.
Thousands of people here in Utah took part in the rallies, including at the state capitol. This time, demonstration organizers decided against a march. This comes after a deadly shooting at the march back in June. A man was killed after a stray bullet from a voluntary peacekeeper struck him. Now, police say things stayed peaceful over the weekend. No violence was reported. First look traffic. Here's Tito Nani.
Nice quiet drive as you travel throughout the valley. No significant delays at this moment on all our major valley freeways. Maria?
Thanks, Tito. KSL News Time, 12:35.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey guys, it's Woodrow from Mint Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with ED? Well, you are not alone. And now there's a real solution that treats the root cause, not just the symptoms. Introducing our trifecta approach, a breakthrough combination of acoustic wave therapy, hormone replacement, and cryotherapy, all designed to restore blood flow, boost performance, and rebalance your hormones. Whether it's ED or hormonal imbalance, if you're ready to reignite your love life, this treatment helps bring back your energy, your drive, and your confidence. And right now, when you call, you'll receive a free consultation, a blood flow ultrasound, and an intimacy gift. That's a $650 value, absolutely free. And here's the bonus. The next 20 callers will also receive a 5-night stay at a luxury resort in Hawaii just for taking the first step. But you must call now. With 2 convenient locations in Layton and Sandy, help is closer than you think. Call 801-804-8000 now. That's 801-804-8000. Mint Medical Clinic. We'll get you back to mint condition.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, the Utah County Clerk is clarifying you only need your signature to have your ballot verified this year, despite some confusing information printed on the ballot related to future state law. KSL News Time, 1238. BYU Cougars are now ranked 11th in the AP Top 25 poll after their win against Utah Saturday night. The Cougars also moved up to number 10 in the coaches poll. After the game, head coach Kalani Sitake told the reporters that they have to find a way to refocus on their opponent after a rivalry game took a lot of energy.
Last year we won this game and we didn't win the next one. And the same thing happened to Utah. So as emotional and as excited we are to win this game, I got 9 a.m. church tomorrow, so I got to be there. And so we got to, put this one away and then move on and find ways to stay humble, stay hungry, and get ready for the next week, because this does take a lot out of you, but we've got to find a way to perform at our best next week.
BYU football team is back at work today, trying to put the thrill of the rivalry game win in the past and focus on a tough road trip this weekend to Ames, Iowa. KSL BYU insider Mitch Harper says the team knows that they have to move forward with more focus than they did after last year's rivalry game when they ended up losing to Kansas the next Saturday.
Can be draining on a team. I will say, though, that BYU came out of that game, relatively healthy compared to last year. Last year, the team didn't get to bed until around 6 a.m., whereas this past weekend it was pretty normal schedule. They're used to these late night spots.
Head coach Kalani Sitake says they are taking deliberate steps to refocus this week. Saturday's game kicks at 1:30 with our radio pregame starting at 11:30. Thousands of students rushed the field after BYU beat Utah Saturday night, and one fan says he's willing to foot the bill if BYU gets hit with a fine. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
It really was a crazy scene, and it included BYU President Shane Reese out crowd surfing during the celebration. Now, another person enjoying the scene and getting a selfie with BYU quarterback Bear Bachmeier was Crumble CEO Jason McGowan. The Big 12, it routinely fines schools when their fans rush the field because it can lead to safety issues. And McGowan, he says he's ready to pay the fine. The Crumble Company sent us a statement saying Jason has built his career around creating meaningful moments, and he didn't want to miss the chance to help his fellow Cougar fans enjoy one. He also added it was his first time being part of a fan storming. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Tito Nani.
Good speeds and no delays as you travel I-15 at this moment in Salt Lake, Davis, and Weber County. Most of Utah County appears to be moving along just fine as well. However, we're still dealing with heavy delays further south. This is due to that crash that occurred on northbound I-15 near Main Street, Santaquin. Heavy delays remain as you make your way northbound into Payson. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Beautiful but cold today. I got a high of only 55. That's almost 10 below the normal with partly cloudy skies. 39 overnight, clear skies. Tomorrow, 61, mostly sunny skies, giving way to more cloud cover on Wednesday. Partly cloudy there with a high of 65. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And a lot of sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City, 54 degrees. Coming up on midday, the government has been shut down for 20 days. We'll take a look at how it's affecting the economy. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Annuities, non-advisory products. DBA Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule at 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Help DEA keep our communities safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, October 25th. Take action right in your own home by cleaning out your medicine cabinet of unneeded medications. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent prescription drug misuse before it starts. That's DEATakeback.com.
KSL News Time 1245. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Utah's privacy chief says the state's digital ID could help stop online scams, driving a rise in teen sextortion cases. I'm KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Second, a new development in Urda will add 1,200 new homes, significantly boosting the town's population. Third, traffic and weather together, Tito.
Good speeds as you travel throughout Salt Lake County. I-15, I-80, and I-215 all moving along with no delays. Maria?
Sunday's highs were in the mid-70s. We'll be in the mid-50s today. I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine, 54 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The government shut down in day 20, impacting furloughed federal workers and Americans who rely on government services, including farmers. Joe Maxwell is a fourth-generation farmer and president of Farm Action Fund.
While we're in harvest, it's now that farmers begin to prepare their fields and to make plans for next spring, for spring planting. So it's really a critical time for the government to be shut down. Really puts the farmers in a horrible personal stress, financial stress for their farms.
The Senate taking up a vote again later today aimed at ending the shutdown. Hamas has returned another body, and it is in Israeli custody where testing will take place, trying to verify if it's one of the deceased hostages. President Trump today threatening to eradicate Hamas, he says, if the violence against Gazans doesn't stop, after reports by the State Department that Hamas has violated the ceasefire deal. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. It's been 20 days since the government shut down, and it's impacting Americans at all levels. Zions Bank senior economist Robert Spendlove joins me live. Robert, what have you seen? I mean, how are people being impacted?
Well, so it depends on where you are, but what we know, like holistically, is every week that the shutdown lasts, it causes our gross domestic product or our national income to lose $15 billion. So by the end of this week, that'll mean that we've lost $50 billion in GDP.
Boy, how difficult is it to recover from something like that?
Well, you really never recover from that kind of a loss. Now, that's not a huge number. I mean, it sounds really, really big, but in the space of the total federal budget, it's not a huge number, but it does add up. And when you look at those individual impacts, you really start to see those adding up, especially for those federal workers nationwide, but also in Utah.
Yeah. Are you able to look at what happened the last time this happened during that 35-day shutdown and see how people recovered at that point or how the economy recovered after that?
Yeah. And so, that's one of the struggles. So we have about 56,000 federal workers in Utah. Now, if you kind of divide those out, we have about 15,000 active duty military, then another 20,000 defense employees, and then another 20,000 non-defense employees. Now, the active duty military are still being paid. But then once you go beyond that, we start to see some bigger impacts, like the IRS in Ogden. Those employees are furloughed and not being paid. Department of Interior, Agriculture, Transportation are all furloughed. And the longer this lasts, those people aren't getting paid. And so we are now starting to see big increases in unemployment insurance claims, where nationwide it's really gone up quickly from about 600 the week before the shutdown to last week it was 7,000. So we're seeing that adding up quickly.
And then does that trickle down to businesses who aren't getting business because these people aren't working?
It does, because, those furloughed employees don't have the same income that they had before. They're waiting for a paycheck. Now, they should get repaid after the shutdown is over, but there's a high level of uncertainty. So they're pulling back, and then we start to see this multiplier effect where as they're pulling back, other people are getting nervous, and we get more uncertainty in the market.
Robert, I appreciate your help. Thanks so much for being with me.
Sure.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is Zions Bank senior economist Robert Spendlove. Let's get you up to date on the drive, traffic and weather. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito?
No major delays on all Valley freeways at this moment. Salt Lake, Davis, and Weber County all appear to be trouble-free. That crash from earlier in Utah County on I-15 northbound near Main Street, Santaquin. It looks to be all cleared up. Speeds are back to normal as you make your way up into Payson and further along into Utah County. Don't miss the Rocky Mountain Gun Show, October 25th and 26th at the Legacy Event Center in Farmington. Get 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for just $85. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast shaping up to be predominantly dry for the first half. I got 55 today, partly cloudy skies. We will recover nicely to 61 tomorrow, mostly sunny. 65 on your Wednesday, partly cloudy skies. 63 mostly clear on Thursday. And then Friday, partly cloudy, 67. We'll go for a storm on Saturday, Sunday. Highs in the 60s Saturday, but Sunday, 55. Good chance for rain. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's sunny and 54 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Well, you can definitely feel the chill in the air now, and hopefully you've been checking out your furnace, making sure that furnace is running because you're going to need to turn that thing on. And you know what? We know that times are tight, and At Your Service Pros knows things are tight as well. So right now they are giving you a deal. They're helping you with $49 furnace tune-ups, $39 electrical inspections, and $75 off any electrical repairs because, again, they know things are tight and they want to help you prep your home so that you can be comfortable this winter season. These guys are great. These guys are family-owned. It's a locally owned company, so they're not trying to upsell you on all sorts of things. They're always happy to give you a free second opinion because they know you deserve honest answers. And you want to make sure that everything is running well going into this cold season. So let At Your Service Pros be your pro and go-to for heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Call 801-YOUR-PRO or visit atyourservicepros.com. And don't forget, those energy rebates are about to expire. So if you need a new furnace, air conditioner, now is the time to do that, and they will help you with those rebates as well. Again, 801-YOUR-PRO, the number to call, or atyourservicepros.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Also that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hello, Utah. I'm Josh with IWC Roofing. For over 25 years, my family has been safeguarding your homes with the finest roofing solutions. We value your time, and we're committed to replacing most roofs in just one day with a peace of mind 50-year shingle warranty. Call us today at 801-232-5690 or visit iwcroofingutah.com. Ask us for the $1,500 off any full roof replacement. Financing available. 801-232-5690. Utah homeowners, look no further than IWC Roofing for a roof that stands the test of time. With 25 years of excellence, IWC is your trusted family-owned roofing expert. At IWC, we offer one-day roof replacements with top-tier quality materials, all with a 50-year shingle warranty. To keep a leaky roof from dampening your day, we're offering $1,500 off a full roof replacement. Get a free estimate. Call 801-232-5690 or visit iwcroofingutah.com. 801-232-5690.
KSL News Time 1254. A new study published in the journal Pediatrics says feeding your kids peanuts early can help reduce their chance of developing food allergies.
Researchers in Philadelphia found peanut allergies in young children fell by 43%, and overall food allergies dropped by about 1/3. This after the American Academy of Pediatrics released new infant feeding guidelines in 2015 and again in 2017, encouraging parents to introduce peanuts and other allergenic foods at around 4 to 6 months of age.
That is ABC's Maggie Ruley. Watching Utah's Money. A man in Maryland won the state's top lottery prize by using his grandkids' ages. John Lang says he uses different variations of the grandchildren's ages to buy his tickets. Last week, he matched all the numbers in the drawing and received $50,000. Sports car manufacturer Ferrari says it's set to bring its first electric vehicle to the market. Reuters reports the new EV is expected to be presented in spring of next year, with the first deliveries to begin in October of 2026. No word yet on the cost of the Ferrari EV. Governor Spencer Cox is traveling to New Zealand this week for a trade mission. The 80-person delegation will also visit Australia to work on strengthening ties between the Pacific nations and Utah. The focus will be mostly on financial technology, aerospace, and critical minerals industries. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 510 points. That's more than a full percent, sitting at 46,701. S&P up by 72 points, and the NASDAQ, it's up by 328. President Trump says the United States could purchase Argentinian beef in an attempt to bring down prices for Americans. Mr. Trump promised earlier this week to address the issue as part of his efforts to keep inflation in check. U.S. beef prices have been high for a variety of reasons, including drought on rangeland and reduced imports from Mexico due to disease in cattle herds there.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today, 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227, or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
You do countless things without a second thought to protect your family and home. Every time you're in the car, you buckle your seatbelt. Before the next load of laundry, you remove the dryer lint. When you head out, you always lock your doors. And one simple task, done far less often, can protect your family and home this winter. Schedule a furnace inspection by a certified heating contractor to check for safety and efficiency. A friendly reminder from Enbridge Gas.
Utah Mammoth Hockey is back at Delta Center. Don't miss your chance to be part of the excitement as the Mammoth hit the ice all season long. Grab your friends, rally the family, and lock in your seats for the fast-paced, hard-hitting action. Great seats are available for most games, but they're selling fast. Head to UtahMammoth.com to get your tickets today. That's UtahMammoth.com. Your home for all things Mammoth hockey.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here's Tito Nani.
Good speeds both directions of this hour on I-15 as you travel between Salt Lake and the point of the mountain. Utah County looking really good as well as you travel between Lehigh and Santaquin. And no slowdowns elsewhere as you make your way around the Wasatch Front. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
And it is a beautiful start to the week. Today's high only 55, but a lot of sunshine all the way through Wednesday. A few clouds moving in by Thursday, but the high in the mid-60s for those few days. Then on Friday, 67 for a high. And then Mother Nature just wants us to get wet at any football games. Looks like a 40% chance of showers on Saturday. The high on Saturday, 64. And then a lot cooler on Sunday. On Sunday, the temperature dropping a full 10 degrees, will be down to 55 for a high, just like today, but then a 60% chance of showers. Right now in downtown Salt Lake City, a lot of sunshine and 54 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
On day 20 of the government shutdown, one Utah lawmaker says if federal workers aren't getting paid, then Congress shouldn't get paid either.
If we're not going to pass a budget, if we're not going to fund the government, we aren't going to get paid either.
The time is 1 o'clock, Monday, October 20th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, Congressman Mike Kennedy has introduced the No Work, No Pay Act aimed at stopping paychecks for Congress. Also this hour, new life for a Salt Lake City underpass.
This used to be a place that I'd get a lot of calls about things that were unsavory or dangerous happening here.
The Central 9th area celebrating a new gathering space. But first, our top stories. We are continuing to gather information after an SUV crashed into a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints meeting house in West Valley City last night. We're also learning the suspect has had more than a dozen run-ins with police. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
New arrest documents claim Gabriel Manuel Gutierrez and his girlfriend were drinking and got into a heated argument before the SUV they were in crashed into the church near 3100 West and 4100 South. Gutierrez was taken to jail on suspicion of DUI and other potential charges, but this is far from his first run-in with law enforcement. KSL looked through court records and found Gutierrez at age 20 has at least a combined 15 criminal cases and traffic citations since 2022. This includes a case last year where he was charged with a felony for allegedly fleeing from police. That was reduced to a misdemeanor as part of a plea deal. He's also been accused of driving on a denied license and driving over 100 miles an hour. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story from ABC News. It may be one of the largest single-day protests in U.S. history. Millions turned out over the weekend for the No Kings rallies.
Organizers say nearly 7 million people took to the streets for the No Kings protests to protest what they call an abuse of power by President Trump. The demonstrations happening in more than 2,000 cities and towns. 200,000 people showing up in the president's own backyard in Washington, D.C. The protesters say they were fueled by the president's sweeping cuts to the federal government, his crackdown on immigration, and his decision to send the National Guard into Democratic states.
That is ABC's Rachel Scott reporting. It sounds like the plot of a Pink Panther movie, but it was all too real. People disguised as construction workers broke into the Louvre and made off with centuries-old jewels. ABC's James Longman is in Paris.
Police say the masked robbers drove up to the side of the museum in a truck mounted with a ladder described as a mobile freight elevator. Police say the lift was extended up to a second-floor window, which the thieves broke open using an angle grinder, a handheld power tool used for metalwork. From there, they're alleged to have threatened security guards before ransacking the Apollo Gallery, where Napoleon III's crown jewels were on display. Police say they tried to set fire to the lift they used before they fled. The raid lasted all of 7 minutes before they escaped on scooters.
prosecutor looking into the case believes the robbery crew might have been hired by a jewel collector. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by more than 500 points, more than a full percent to sit at 46,725. S&P up by 75 and the NASDAQ up by 335 points. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here's Tito Nani.
Good speeds and no delays as you make your way throughout Salt Lake County. I-15, 215, and I-80 are all in great shape at the moment. Utah County looks trouble-free on I-15 both directions between Lehigh and Santaquin. And it looks like there's no slowdowns elsewhere throughout Weber and Davis County. Advanced Window Products, $2,500 off 10 windows or more. AdvancedWindows.com. Affordable windows guaranteed. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
And a great start to the week when it comes to the weather. A lot of sunshine through Wednesday. The high getting warmer up through Wednesday, up to 65 by Wednesday. Today's high only 55, though. And it's 54 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hey guys, it's Woodrow from Mint Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with ED? Well, you are not alone, and now there's a real solution that treats the root cause, not just the symptoms. Introducing our trifecta approach, a breakthrough combination of acoustic wave therapy, hormone replacement, and cryotherapy, all designed to restore blood flow, boost performance, and rebalance your hormones. Whether it's ED or hormonal imbalance, if you're ready to reignite your love life, this treatment helps bring back your energy, your drive, and your confidence. And right now, when you call, you'll receive a free consultation, a blood flow ultrasound, and an intimacy gift. That's a $650 value, absolutely free. And here's the bonus. The next 20 callers will also receive a 5-night stay at a luxury resort in Hawaii just for taking the first step. But you must call now. With 2 convenient locations in Layton and Sandy, help is closer than you think. Call 801-804-8000 now. That's 801-804-8000. Mint Medical Clinic. We'll get you back to mint condition.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. It's day 20 of the government shutdown with no end in sight, making this the 3rd longest shutdown in modern history. At the end of last week, the Senate failed for a 10th time to end the impasse. The showdown has some Utah lawmakers saying it doesn't make sense that Congress still gets paid during a government shutdown when federal workers go without pay. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera explains what one Utah congressman wants to change.
Utah Representative Mike Kennedy says if federal workers lose pay during a shutdown, Congress should too. Most members earn about $174,000 a year, according to the Congressional Research Service. Kennedy's No Work, No Pay Act would stop those paychecks anytime lawmakers fail to pass a budget.
That is for congressmen. If we're not going to pass a budget, if we're not going to fund the government, we aren't going to get paid either. I just think that that's totally appropriate.
Kennedy's bill, H.R. 5637, would take effect next Congress. Legal experts note similar proposals have faced questions under the 27th Amendment, which bars changes to congressional pay until after an election. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Deseret News congressional correspondent Cami Mondo says there's been very little movement toward a resolution.
Definitely
definitely feeling a lot like deja vu every single day up here. You know, you have barely any lawmakers, especially on the House side. The Senate will come back in tonight and vote again for the 11th time on the CR. We expect that to fail once again. So it's kind of just, you know, doing the same day in a continuous cycle. But I think this week and hopefully next week is probably where we're going to see some lawmakers actually finally look for an off-ramp now that it kind of looks like we're dug into a place where we're no longer going to find a compromise at this point. You have to find some other way out.
However, she says there have been some behind-the-scenes discussions about ways to reach some sort of compromise.
There were some talks going on about, you know, maybe an agreement on doing, you know, Democrats' main demand is extending those Obamacare subsidies. There's some talk about maybe agreeing to a one-year extension just to give more time to negotiate a more permanent solution in exchange for Democrats to reopen the government. That's still in early talks. We've seen, you know, some Democrats that I've talked to say they still don't trust Republicans to uphold their end of any deal. Some Democrats want that permanent extension no matter what. So those talks are still preliminary, but they are definitely going on.
And she says there is a difference between a compromise and an off-ramp that will allow lawmakers to pass a continuing budget resolution.
So in my sense of view, you know, a compromise would be somewhere where Democrats agree to something just to pass whatever this CR is, and then we can get that to the president for sign. I think for this off-ramp, we're going to have to do something completely different. We're going to have to bring in new legislation, a new CR perhaps, something that has completely different circumstances that they can both agree to. That, of course, would have to go back to the House. But I think that's something that, you know, the time is running out at this point that I think we're going to have to do that.
As the shutdown continues, some Veterans Affairs employees are not only worried about their own pocketbooks, they're also worried about their clients. KSL-TV's Mike Anderson spoke with some of them about why it's getting harder to supply the care they need.
It's time to plan your taxes right now.
You know, on top of not getting paid until the shutdown is over, those who are working are dealing with a skeleton staff. One worker mentioned having, you know, typically 20 clients a day, ended up having close to double that. In the meantime, they're worried about what this means for veterans.
For the people who help veterans get medical care.
They're talking about laying people off that are on furlough, and I'm on furlough.
There are those like Dave Hummer worried that they may no longer be able to help.
And this is a very important mission. I help some of the most vulnerable veterans.
The father of three is just one of thousands who now live with uncertainty.
This administration has really put it to us. And it's like there's a vengeful side that's coming down on us.
Local union president Rob Johnson says those working, some without pay, are becoming overloaded.
It's going to be detrimental to our vets. How can you possibly say that you're going to go ahead and you're all for the veterans and then turn around and do this?
But they say it's just the latest development in a very unstable year for federal workers.
This is my passion. I love working for the VA. But right now, it's a scary, 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 unstable environment where everybody is basically living on fear and intimidation and pins and needles, day to day.
All the while worrying that patients may now have to wait longer to get the care they need.
The people that are suffering in the long run is our disabled veterans who deserve it more than anybody in this world.
And union reps also mentioned that, you know, not all veterans qualify for VA care. So if those ones that don't are getting it off the marketplace, they could be slapped with those huge increases to premiums we keep hearing about if Congress can't make a deal.
And that is KSL-TV's Mike Anderson. City of Fruit Heights is stepping up to help workers at Hill Air Force Base who are being negatively impacted by the government shutdown. Mayor John Pullman says they used the weekend rivalry game between the Utes and the Cougars as a way to gather food for those who need some extra help right now.
Hill Air Force Base is in need with thousands of their employees and the civilians who work on base being furloughed. The Airman's Attic is an organization on base that provides free items, including food and resources that anyone could go in and use, and a request has come out to help them. So we as a city have tried to do all that we can to support the airmen and everyone who works on base. We are doing a food drive this week, and it goes into next week, and we're trying to make it fun using BYU Utah as a catalyst to get people motivated to come drop some food off. We just know that there are a lot of people in our community that not necessarily just our city, but in Davis County, who work on base either as a civilian or as an airman, and we know that they need help. And we want to be a supportive community to those who support our nation.
Mayor Pullman says it's not just the workers in his city who need the help.
It is personal, but not so much Crude Heights, but just all of Davis County, Clearfield, Layton, Kaysville. The entire county has a lot of individuals who work on base. So I think we as a city can do our part to help those who need some help.
And he hopes that this is just a jumping off point.
So I'm sure that I will work with the other cities. We just want to see how this went, and to see the response. We know there's a need right now, and we didn't want to wait. So we sprung into action to see how we can help them.
For now, Fruit Heights is taking donations until Thursday. The donations will then be given directly to Airman's Attic, a thrift store and food pantry that serves as a free resource for military members and their families on the base. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
For 70 years, Les Olson IT has helped businesses succeed, and for the past decade, we've been your trusted managed service provider, delivering stability and innovation to protect what matters most. This October, during National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, remember, your business needs protection on every front, physical and digital. From advanced cybersecurity to secure office technology, Les Olson IT has the tools to keep you safe. Call this month for a free network assessment, including a full cybersecurity risk evaluation.
Les Olson IT.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
The BYU football team is climbing up in the polls after their rivalry game win. The Cougars are now 11th in the AP Top 25 and 10th in the coaches poll. During the Saturday night game, BYU quarterback Bear Bachmeier had some big moments, running for first downs, and in a crucial moment, he was dragging defenders on his way to a touchdown.
No, I was trying to get the first down, and I don't know, I was standing for some reason after some guys tried to tackle me, so I just saw the goal line, and I think Waylon pushed me in, so that was a fun kind of deal.
He was also asked about his hurdle of a Utah defender that is now all over social media.
I don't know, I wanted to do that the first game, but I guess I didn't do it the first 6 weeks, so got an opportunity, and I don't know, hopefully I didn't really see it. Hopefully it looked cool. Hopefully I got up. Hopefully I could jump high. So
I'm sure he's seen it by now. After the game, head coach Kalani Sitake told reporters they have to find a way to refocus on their next opponent. After a rivalry game like this, it takes a lot of energy.
Last year we won this game, and we didn't win the next one. And the same thing happened to Utah. So as emotional and as excited we are to win this game, I got 9 a.m. church tomorrow, so I got to be there. And so we got to, put this one away and then move on and find ways to stay humble, stay hungry, and get ready for the next week, because this does take a lot out of you, but we've got to find a way to perform at our best next week.
BYU plays at Iowa State on Saturday afternoon. Utah quarterback Devin Dampier and Utes head coach Kyle Whittingham took questions after the game, and one of the big stories of the game was BYU's ability to stop Utah on 4 downs.
We've been great 3rd and 4th downs all season. Glad that Coach Witt trusts us in those situations. Sadly, it didn't go our way. But yeah, I mean, they're a talented team as well. They can make plays.
Well inside the analytics to go. Well inside, 3 yards inside the analytics. And so, unless you tell me to go against the analytics, that's why.
Do you have to adjust that given the game and the matchup here?
No.
We're not happy. We know what our team is capable of. We had aspirations to be undefeated after our first loss. So, it hurts us right now.
The Utes will host Colorado in Rice-Eccles Stadium Saturday night. It's a late one with the game time at 8:15. Thousands of students rushed the field after BYU beat Utah Saturday night, and one fan says he's willing to foot the bill if BYU gets hit with a fine. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
It really was a crazy scene, and it included BYU President Shane Reese out crowd surfing during the celebration. Now, another person enjoying the scene and getting a selfie with BYU quarterback Bear Bachmeier was Crumbl CEO Jason McGowan. The Big 12, it routinely fines schools when their fans rush the field because it can lead to safety issues. And McGowan, he says he's ready to pay the fine. The Crumbl company sent us a statement saying Jason has built his career around creating meaningful moments, and he didn't want to miss the chance to help his fellow Cougar fans enjoy one. He also added it was his first time being part of a fan storming. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
Critics of President Trump gathered over the weekend for No Kings protests. But do those protests make a difference? Before we check that, we're going to check in with traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito?
Good speeds as you travel throughout Salt Lake County. No issues on I-15, 215, and I-80. Bangerter Highway looks to be in great shape as well. No slowdowns as you travel north and south between West Valley and Bluffdale. And it looks like a nice, quiet drive if you're traveling throughout Weber, Davis, and Utah County. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
With home prices going up as much as they have, most of us have $1 million homes now in the Salt Lake Valley. But does your $1 million home actually feel like a $1 million home? Well, Peach Windows and Doors can help you get there. They are the trusted name in windows and doors for luxury homes, remodels, and new home builds. And we're not talking about the same white vinyl windows that everyone else pushes. They have a wide range of high-quality products to choose from. And if you're looking at windows and doors, you need to go in there. They specialize in custom windows that have that contemporary look with larger glass and slim frames. They also have the European-style windows that tilt and turn and just make them so easy to clean. They also have beautiful entry doors and patio doors, French doors. They're sliding glass doors. They just glide. They even have shades, like those motorized custom roller shades that you can open and close with your phone. You can visit Peach Windows and Doors at their Salt Lake showroom to see what real window replacement looks like. You can also call them for a free home visit at 801-566-1255 or just go to peachwindowsanddoors.com.
I'm Jenny Oaks-Baker, and I invite you to Joy to the World.
It was sacred, exquisitely beautiful, and Jenny's talent on the violin is unmatched.
Featuring choirs, dancers, and My Children musical group, Family 4. Plus world-renowned mezzo-soprano Angela Brower and celebrated baritone and narrator Preston Yates.
It was just like emotionally stirring. The dancers, the singers, Jenny and her family, just bringing to life the beautiful music.
Experience a Christ-centered Christmas as we proudly support Light the World.
It's so beautiful to see how they use all of their talents to just testify of the Savior.
Get your tickets for Joy to the World, a sacred celebration at jennyoaksbaker.com.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. Did you know that we offer 3 distinct styles of gutter protection? Each one meant to handle a specific leaf problem. You might not even know there are different styles of gutter protection, but there are. And if you pick the wrong one, it could be a huge waste of money. Now, the big gutter guard companies won't tell you this. They try to sell you a one-size-fits-all gutter guard. And it could be completely wrong for the amount and types of trees and leaves you have. Not RGS Exteriors. We understand which kind of leaf problem needs which kind of gutter guard. We'll do an in-depth evaluation to assess the types, locations, and numbers of trees in your yard. Based on that data, we match your home to the right gutter guard. So don't risk wasting money on the wrong gutter protection. For a free evaluation and estimate, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Help DEA keep our communities safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, October 25th. Take action right in your own home by cleaning out your medicine cabinet of unneeded medications. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. Find a collection site near you at deatakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent prescription drug misuse before it starts. That's deatakeback.com.
You were listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. Critics of President Trump gathered over the weekend for No Kings protests, including here in Utah. The events marked the second massive wave of protest organized by a network of progressive organizations fighting against what they call the president's overreach. Brad Milkey and ABC's Rick Klein explore the impact of these rallies on the Start Here podcast.
No kings! No kings!
Remember, back in June, people had gathered in cities and towns across the country, blasting what they described as vast executive overreach. Well, since then, immigration raids have only increased. With them, in some cities, have come unwelcome National Guard troops. President Trump has fired more government workers, including attorneys who declined to prosecute his personal foes as aggressively as he would like.
We're here to protest the abuse of power by this administration.
Which might be why yesterday, when you looked at the crowds gathering in New York and Washington and LA, these new protests looked even larger than the originals.
And this goes for blocks and blocks and blocks, seas of people.
Tens of thousands of people are gathering with us here in downtown Chicago.
And it wasn't just big cities. We saw these growing marches in Amarillo, Texas, and Decatur, Indiana.
ICE is actively detaining community members in Iowa.
The question this week now is, what effect, if any, are these protests having? Let's start the day with ABC's Washington Bureau Chief Rick Klein. Rick, first off, as you watch these, what were your big takeaways?
Yeah, Brad, the numbers were stunning. I mean, 7 million people is the number organizers used. And if it's anything close to that, we're talking about larger political protests, larger gatherings than we've seen in this country in 50 years.
Watching people get snatched off the street, watching food prices go way up.
We're forced to carry around our passports now. We're not living in a free country anymore.
And so many of them were organic, and they got bigger as the last couple of days started to draw up, as Republicans started to suggest that there's something un-American about it.
And to say we hate America, everybody here loves America.
The Hate America rally happened January 6, 2021.
It was a moment that I think a lot of liberals felt was, a rare dose of good news for them.
It's good to see a broad section of society showing up for a good cause.
We outnumber you. We outnumber you. Remember that.
But what difference do these rallies actually make?
Politics starts with organizing. And if you can get a huge number of people out there for a cause, that's a good thing. I think the warning sign for Republicans will remain. We don't really know if the country has shifted substantially politically or not. We do know that Donald Trump can bring crowds for him and against him.
Hell no, MAGA!
Hell no, MAGA! I think a warning sign for Democrats is the thing that continues to bring them together is Donald Trump.
We need to keep protesting until this clown is gone.
That's how campaigns are still framed. That's how organizing is still framed. Donald Trump won't be on the ballot again. In the midterm year, he can't run for president again under the Constitution. But what he does in keeping himself front and center has made him a polarizing figure. And perhaps the best unity that Democrats can bring is around opposition to him. But the chance to defeat him has already come and passed. So that I think is a limit to what they can do. Look, this country remains very divided. I think we know that for a fact. And yeah, it is the case that a lot of people, a huge number of people, will get involved if they're asked to, if they feel that calling.
ABC's Brad Milkey and Rick Klein on the Start Here podcast. A new thrift shop run by high school students opens this week. Co-founders of Second Flight Thrift, Hudson McFarland and Connor Newton, are gearing up for the opening on Thursday inside Innovation High School in Ogden. They have a passion for thrifting and approached their principal about the shop. She was supportive of the idea and even gave them a classroom to start the shop in and some seed money. Now, as they prepare, the boys have been busy learning what it's like to start a business. Friends and family have been there to help them as well, and they're putting in the work to get the shop off to a good start.
Oh, it's been a lot of work. We came in, It's fall break right now. We came in early at like 7 o'clock. We've been setting up like all day, and we're doing it during the school days every day, so it's been a lot of work, like nonstop.
Once we have breaks between works, we usually come in here during school days as well.
Yeah, it's been hard to keep up on our schoolwork and also do this, but we've managed to do it pretty well.
Yeah, especially if it's end of quarter, but yeah, we're doing it.
And they have a higher purpose for a second flight thrift. It will give other students access to affordable clothing. It would also promote clothes recycling rather than shopping from fast fashion companies. They will even use the shop's profits to give back.
So the money is just going to go back into the club so we can keep doing this and keep buying more clothes. We're not going to make any money from it at all. We're hoping to maybe do a scholarship program since most of us in the club are in FBLA. Hopefully some of the money can go into paying for our nationals trip. But so far, none of the money is going to go to us, and it's just going to go back into the club.
In the shop, there will be a wide range of inventory, hopefully catering to a variety of needs. And they've gotten clothes from other thrift shops, donations, such. And there are also accessories like sunglasses. Trick-or-treating isn't just for kids. In Michigan this weekend, it was the dogs that got dressed up for the annual Howloween event sponsored by a local pet store. Now, the canines wore a variety of costumes, including one dressed up as Elvis Presley and another like Scooby-Doo's Time Machine. The Associated Press's Mike Householder caught up with the costume pets and their owners.
This event is a wonderful place to come, bring your dog out, bring your family out, have fun, trick or treat all throughout the Old Town Arts District. All the businesses participate in passing out treats.
There is so many dogs and so many people. You see the cutest things. People really put out for this one specifically. They go above and beyond on their costumes, and you get everything. It's amazing.
Magical. Like, this is something we wait for all year, just specifically because it's something that we can do with our dogs that they absolutely adore. And they get to dress up and people give them attention and they get treats. And it's great for me as her mom to see like how much love she gets.
It's just so joyous, and I think right now with everything going on in the world, we need more joyous events, and that's what this is.
We definitely do. Now, the dogs paraded through Lansing's art district, stopping at stores and restaurants for treats, and everyone walked away with a bucket of biscuits. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Amazon Web Services is recovering after a widespread outage took down multiple services, including Canvas accounts. A Salt Lake City neighborhood joining forces to create a community gathering spot. And tackling domestic violence from the perspective of the offender. Plus, KSL traffic. Tito?
Nice smooth drive throughout the Wasatch Front. No issues as you travel throughout. Maria?
And it's a great start to the week. A lot of sunshine for the first 3 days. Looks like rain showers could be back for the weekend, though. KSL's top local stories coming up in 1 minute. It's 1:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Authorities in Atlanta say a potential attack was thwarted at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International today. Police say a man was arrested in the airport after he told his family he was headed there to shoot it up. Atlanta's Police Chief Darren Sherbaum identified the suspect as Billy Cagle, and they found an assault weapon.
Cartersville Police Department was alerted by the family of Mr. Cagle that he was streaming on social media, that he was headed to the airport, in their words, to shoot it up. And the family stated that he was in possession of an assault rifle.
According to sources, the suspect had some mental health issues. His family did alert the airport that he was coming. Police say they knew what he looked like and took him into custody immediately. President Trump hosted Australia's prime minister for talks today, announcing a deal for the U.S. to access rare earth minerals. And the Senate reconvenes later today, taking up another vote on a measure aimed at ending the government shutdown. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. A community activist running for a seat on a Salt Lake City council has far outpaced her competition in donations, mainly from out-of-state contributions. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Erica Carlson is a Utah native, granddaughter of immigrants, and is running for Ballpark District 5 City Council. She has also raised over $99,000 in funds. Her campaign has apparently drawn attention from around the country as donations come from around the nation, from New York to California, although over half have come from California.
Her other two competitors, Amy Hawkins and Vance Hansen, have each raised just under $6,000. Utah could help reduce the 325,000 homes the state is estimated to be short in 2055. CEO of Envision Utah, Jason Brown, tells Inside Sources it's not too late.
We can make changes. We can figure out how do we make sure that we have the infrastructure we need to open up some of the new development areas, or how do we make sure that we are using or in some cases redeveloping the opportunities in our existing cities and towns.
Brown says water, transportation, and sewer constraints could be addressed now to help with future home building. He says the best thing we can do for housing affordability is to balance supply and demand. A new development will add more than 1,200 new homes in Tooele County. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has details.
Just off SR 36 in Erda is 325 acres, which will have townhomes, single-family homes, and open space. The project, called Echo, is being built by developer Cole West. He tells KSL.com they will offer a variety of community amenities for everyone from families to first-time buyers and those looking to move up.
West says the infrastructure construction is already underway, with the first home going up next year. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 530 points, more than a full percent, sitting at 46,721. S&P up by 75. The NASDAQ up by 325 points. That's 1.5%. Thousands of people spent their Saturday morning at protests across the state, including at the Utah State Capitol. The No Kings demonstration is a protest against the Trump administration. This time, demonstration organizers decided against a march. It comes after a deadly shooting at the march back in June. A man was killed after a stray bullet from a voluntary peacekeeper struck him. Police say things stayed peaceful over the weekend and no violence was reported. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Tito Nani.
Good speeds with no slowdowns on I-15 at this hour. Things are looking smooth as you travel both north and south between Provo and Ogden. No issues if you're traveling on I-80. Both east and westbound lanes appear in great shape between Park City and Tooele. And no slowdowns or incidents to report elsewhere throughout the valley as things are moving along perfectly at this moment. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Beautiful fall weather this week. Today's high 55, but climbing up to 65 by Wednesday, 67 on Friday. And the next chance of rain comes on Saturday when we'll have a 40% chance of rain. Right now, 54 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Shop with any Mountain America credit or debit card for a chance to win a $5,000 vacation voucher. Simply tap, insert, swipe, or click to be entered to win now until October 31st. Use any card, win any trip from Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/anycard for official rules or to apply. Loans on approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility. Insured by NCUA. Limited time offer. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time.
Calling all Jazz fans. If you can't wait another second to see stars like Ace Bailey, Lowry Markkanen, and Walker Kessler tear up the court, you're in luck. Tickets are on sale now. Let's go! No matter what you're looking for, the Utah Jazz has your back. With season tickets, mini plans, and single game options available, there's something for everyone. Whatever your schedule or budget, there's a plan for every fan. Don't miss a moment of the action this season. Secure your tickets today at utahjazz.com.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Help DEA keep our communities safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, October 25th. Take action right in your own home by cleaning out your medicine cabinet of unneeded medications. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent prescription drug misuse before it starts. That's DEATakeback.com.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Amazon Web Services is recovering after a widespread outage took down multiple services, including Alexa, Ring, Reddit, Snapchat, Wordle, and many more. The issues appeared overnight when a large spike on down detectors showed reported problems that took down many services that rely on its cloud computing power. ABC technology reporter Mike Dubusky says not all services are back up and running now.
Yeah, so we fixed things and then things started to break again is basically where we started here. So to reverse back to overnight, around 1 a.m. Salt Lake City time, there was this major outage at AWS, Amazon Web Services. They are a cloud computing provider, meaning that Lyft, McDonald's, TD Bank, a lot of companies from around the world basically outsource their computers to AWS. If they need to run very compute-intensive tasks, if they need to do online banking or online ordering, they don't necessarily need to have the computers themselves to do that. They can basically, offload all that work to one of these cloud computing providers. That is the service that AWS provides. However, overnight, there was an outage that happened, some sort of disruption in their service. As you mentioned, a number of very popular apps and websites went offline. WhatsApp, Venmo, Hulu, DoorDash, Snapchat, and McDonald's among them, including Amazon's own website as well, and the websites that are related to some of their services like Ring doorbells. Now, experts say this does not appear to be a cyber attack. They have traced this problem back to a data center in Northern Virginia that was experiencing some disruptions, so doesn't appear that this was a nefarious act by any stretch. About 2 hours after the initial reports, AWS said that the issue had been fully mitigated and that most of the affected services were back up and running. So this was a pretty small affair, at least at first. You guys mentioned that this happened overnight, so a lot of Americans were asleep when this was happening. They might not have noticed that things were down. We also heard from many services in the UK, including the website that handles the tax servicing for the UK government. That went down as well. So it was a little bit more evident in Europe, which is obviously a little bit ahead of us. Now, however, according to Down Detector, which is a crowdsourced website that reports outages across the internet, it does seem like we're seeing another spike. This could be a new problem. According to Amazon, they are looking into it, but they don't have many firm details on what exactly led to this.
Dubusky tells Inside Sources the outage appears to be the result of a glitch in the system.
In the same way that occasionally you'll come across a typo in a major newspaper, there are problems in code, right? These are really complex systems that Amazon and others run, and mistakes will get made, whether that's intentional, whether there is a problem that arises that the engineers here could not have foreseen, remains to be figured out. To delve a little bit more deeply into the technical aspects of this, it seems like the initial outage was tied to this technology known as DynamoDB. This is a database service, and the nature of the problem had to do with a domain name service. And I know this is very technical, but stick with me. This is what translates web addresses that you type into a browser into an IP address. So instead of figuring out specifically what computer that you're trying to access when you're just trying to log into Facebook, you can type in facebook.com and it will take you where you need to go. So it's a really robust service. It underpins a lot of the internet. It seems like that translator, the thing that takes facebook.com and translates it into a thing that a computer can understand, it seems like that's where the problem lies here. A few hours later, and this seems to be the nature of the latest sort of reports of outages, Amazon also said they were experiencing API issues. This is a computer service that ties websites together. For example, if you're a restaurant and you have a website, but you also want to include where your restaurant is on Google Maps, for example, well, you need the API of Google Maps in order to do that. Seems like there might be some issues there as well. Again, this is an evolving situation, so a lot of this is left to be figured out. But guys, I think a really important thing to say here is that this is not unusual, right? In July of 2024, there was a huge outage that traced back to CrowdStrike, which was a cybersecurity firm. They pushed a faulty update that knocked a lot of Microsoft computers offline. This resulted in huge, delays at airports and flight cancellations and so on and so forth. We here at ABC were affected by that outage. AWS itself has had outages in 2023 and in 2021 and in 2020. Microsoft and Google, which also play a big role in the cloud computing space, have had their own incidents in addition to this.
Amazon's stock price has largely been unaffected today, and he says that shows while it's frustrating for consumers, these outages have become pretty normal. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Cooler weather. What a relief. Unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill's going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
A once unsightly underpass in Salt Lake City's Central 9th neighborhood has been transformed into a beautiful gathering spot. Thanks to a partnership between UDOT, Salt Lake City, and the Central 9th Community Council, what was once a weed-covered plot of land frequented by the unsheltered is now landscaped with trees, fresh mulch, and a brand new futsal soccer court. Salt Lake City Council member Darren Mono represents the Central 9th area.
It's exciting to be here at the underpass in Central 9th because this used to be a place that I'd get a lot of calls about with things that were unsavory or difficult or dangerous happening here. And now we're here seeing kids play soccer, and that's just quite the transformation in 1 year. So it's really fantastic.
Salt Lake City Urban Forestry helped the community plant trees and put down mulch for the grand opening, but Mono says the proactive neighborhood residents get the credit for accomplishing such a big project in under a year.
My role has been to help support this through the tools and funds that we have in the CRA. I'm the CRA chair this year.
Okay.
But really, it's the neighborhood that has put this together. They came up with the plans. They pulled together the funding. They got the permission from UDOT. So this is, though the city's been very involved, this has not been a city project in the same way that we would see another park. And I think that's why it's been able to go so quickly.
Hall of Fame goalie Nick Raimondo was instrumental in making the futsal soccer court a reality.
Excited, overjoyed, just so happy that this project has really taken off in the way it did in such a short time, and seen so many people put their hands in the pot and help make this dream a reality. That a vision that we had last November is now a place where the community come together and enjoy the beautiful game of soccer, and just so happy to be a part of it, and to use my platform and see the city come together and have the support from donors and sponsors, really make this place a place that you could come, enjoy, laugh, have memories, and really connect with the community.
Raimondo tells KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi it's difficult to describe all of the emotions he felt watching the kids use the court for the first time.
It's a feeling you can't describe, I guess, is a lot of emotion. Is the night that the fences went up, it wasn't even open, and there was kids playing on the court, and they were smiling, and it wasn't just kids, it was adults. And it was the first day that we put the goals up and the fence up, and it was just a lot of emotion of all the hard work that we put into it, but also the vision and that it wasn't just one person. It really was a village of people, and it just shows how strong a community can be when you have people that have good hearts and a good vision for something special.
And he says this is just the beginning.
There's going to be another court there next to it, hopefully in spring. Got funding for that. There'll be a dog park here, and just a very welcoming place for the community. So much going on 9th South, and to have this just around the corner is just going to bring more people to, this side of town, and just, be able to connect with so many people.
Fundraising is underway for a second soccer court and a dog park on Meade Avenue between 2nd West and Jefferson Street. Let's take a look at traffic. KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito?
Looks like traffic is picking up a bit on northbound I-15 just before you hit the south interchange in Murray. No significant slowing, but definitely starting to see getting a little bit busier there. Utah County in great shape. No slowdowns going north and southbound on I-15 between Lehigh and Santaquin. And Davis and Weber County with no issues to report at the moment. When you take UTA, you can do just about anything while you ride. You won't even notice all the traffic you're missing. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or low back pain, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming out.
And here's Dennis.
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. Good Feet just took that pain away, and I could do my job, and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow's gonna be. It's gonna be positive, and it's gonna be pain-free.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. Walk-ins are always welcome. Or find the location nearest you and schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Join KSL in the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS store at 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, npsstore.com.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Let me tell you an amazing story. Last week, a customer came in. They were a creative director for an agency, and they were frustrated that their old, slow computer wasn't processing their files quick enough. He had a big project due and could not afford any delays. Well, we hooked him up with one of our new, powerful 2025 desktops for only $999, and he was able to complete his project with ease. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $9.99. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $9.99, PCLaptops.com.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A new study published in the journal Pediatrics out today presents fresh evidence that feeding your kids peanuts early helps reduce their food allergies by nearly 50%. Here's ABC's Maggie Ruley.
Researchers in Philadelphia found peanut allergies in young children fell by 43%, and overall food allergies dropped by about 1/3. This after the American Academy of Pediatrics released new infant feeding guidelines in 2015 and again in 2017, encouraging parents to introduce peanuts and other allergenic foods at around 4 to 6 months of age.
Meantime, a nurse in California is using a unique therapy to help his patients deal with pain following surgery. Rod Salese works in the recovery unit at UC San Diego Health, and he tells the Associated Press, besides pain meds, sometimes he plays tunes on either his ukulele or guitar to ease his patients' pain. He says music breaks the cycle of worry, pain, and anxiety, and he can see the results in their vital signs.
Brought my guitar with me today. I'm actually a registered nurse at the Rapid Recovery Unit. I'm equally blessed to be able to do what I do best, which is nursing at the bedside, because I treat all my patients as my family. Also, my passion to incorporate music as a holistic tool to help them get better, because we just don't heal their physical and medical needs, but also the emotional and spiritual needs of patients.
I was expecting a typical nurse that just comes in and do his or her job, and that's it. He's taking nursing over the next level. And that little music actually inspired me, and it kind of motivates me in a way.
When you play music and they start to tap their hands, maybe move their foot to the beat, and then they kind of adjust their position into the pillow, that for me, including the changes that you see on the monitor about the patient's heart rate and blood pressure, those are the physiological signs that tells me that this type of therapy is working. I want to encourage them through music and give them hope that regardless of what's going on, their outlook is a little bit more different, and they're actually smiling more, and the mood has always changed for the better. Thank you. I like it. You like it? Yeah. Boom.
Salese is not alone. Over the past couple of decades, more research has shown how music helps at least dull pain. Does this sound familiar? Your heart is racing, thinking about all the stuff that you have to do during the day, and your feet haven't even hit the floor yet. Heart attacks are most common in the morning, and that early anxiety could be a big reason why.
In the early morning, usually between the hours of 6 to 10, people have a higher amount of stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline. That always impacts our blood pressure, our heart rate, and unfortunately our body's ability to respond to that.
That is Dr. Rachel Bond, a cardiologist with Dignity Health Medical Group, and she recommends having a gradual start to your day, incorporating deep breathing exercises and eating breakfast to help your body get ready for the day ahead. I'm doing so many things wrong. I just hit the ground running. The Louvre Museum in Paris is closed after a brazen heist over the weekend. On the Start Here podcast, host Brad Milkey says it could be the most brazen jewelry heist in modern history at one of the most high-profile places on Earth.
This is the most visited museum on Earth, and yet these thieves managed to break in broad daylight.
This is James Longman, our chief international correspondent and the host of our Disney Plus show, What You Need to Know, reporting this morning from Paris about a brazen robbery at 9:30 in the morning, just as tourists were filing in.
We understand that they basically drove up to the side of the building closest to the River Seine, and they had this mechanical ladder out the back of a van. These are 4 masked men that the authorities here say were dressed as construction workers.
Police say they were all wearing high-vis construction vests, which might have caused onlookers to hesitate as they scaled the building.
They then pushed this mechanical ladder up onto a second-floor balcony. It seems that they've got CCTV footage which shows 2 of these men then using power tools to cut into the Apollo Gallery, which is on the second floor of the Louvre.
Now, here's where this gets even wilder. When you think of the Louvre, you think of paintings, but the Apollo Gallery's most famous display is not artwork, it's jewelry. Specifically, some of the last remaining crown jewels of the French monarchy. We're talking emeralds from Napoleon's wife, Marie Louise, sapphires from the last Queen of France, Marie Amélie.
And then they made their way to these display cases using what have been described as small chainsaws, and in very, very, very quick order managed to steal 9 pieces in total.
Apparently, they also grabbed a 200-year-old crown before dropping it. But authorities say within 7 minutes, these suspects had dropped back to ground level, got on the backs of 2 scooters, and escaped, while the rest of the Louvre was in chaos.
I knew something was up because of the way they swept the whole museum.
So who are the culprits? Well, there are art experts who actually specialize in major thefts who say this was clearly a professional operation. And if the bandits know what they're doing, that also means they know that historic jewelry is easier to sell than historic art.
They've been described as priceless because they are a piece of French history. They are would be worth many hundreds of millions if you could even sell them. But art experts will say, well, they're too recognizable.
In other words, James says, these pieces were likely not targeted because of their artistic significance. And this is precisely why Christopher Marinello, the CEO of Art Recovery International, says the suspects will be looking to strip down these artifacts for parts.
We're now in a race against time. The criminals are going to try to hide what they have just done. And by the way they hide it is by breaking up those jewels, by recutting those stones, by melting down the precious metals and making them, completely unintelligible. You won't be able to locate them or use them as evidence.
French officials, of course, are furious.
President Macron says police will stop at nothing to catch these culprits. France, I don't know if you know this, but has one of the most respected art theft teams in the world, as does Italy. But they're going to have to work fast to catch these thieves. Sounds like something out of a movie. I'm just glad I got to see the crown jewels when I was in Europe this summer.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It may still be tough to get on some of your favorite apps this afternoon.
Very popular apps and websites went offline. WhatsApp, Venmo, Hulu, DoorDash, Snapchat, and McDonald's among them.
The time is 2 o'clock on Monday, October 20th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, Amazon Web Services suffering a major outage overnight. Also this hour.
And this is a very important mission. I help some of the most vulnerable veterans.
Federal employees in Utah are concerned they won't be able to provide critical services to their clients. But first, our top stories. Some Utah County voters say they are confused over conflicting information on their ballots this year. Do they or do they not need to provide details from other forms of ID in addition to signing the ballot? KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson explains.
The issue goes back to a new state law that won't take effect until next year. Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson says his office printed return envelopes in bulk ahead of time with that new requirement in place, but he says that's led to a lot of issues. They found 790 ballots with signatures that didn't match, many of which he believes were people signing for a family member.
If the 4 digits matched and that there was a signature, not the correct signature, just that there was a signature, he had to approve that ballot as being valid.
He believes it's a kink in the new law the state legislature still has to work out. So between the primary and general election ballots, they went back to the old envelopes but kept the same ballot instructions, which caused the confusion. So he's clarifying this year.
It's just the signature is necessary.
Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Bramwell says Utah is still testing technology and won't move forward until lawmakers are confident that residents' data will stay private. They hope to get this in the hands of Utahns within a year. Our top national story from ABC News. A war of words has erupted in the Caribbean over continued U.S. attacks on fishing vessels and other boats. Here's ABC's Mary Bruce.
Trump posting that Colombian President Gustavo Petro is doing nothing to stop drug production, warning him to close up the cartel's killing fields immediately, or the United States will close them up for him, and it won't be done nicely. Trump's threat coming just hours after Petro accused the U.S. of killing an innocent fisherman during a strike last month in the Caribbean.
President Trump claims all the boats targeted were involved in smuggling drugs, but the White House has not provided any evidence to back up those claims. Taking a look at your money at this moment, at the close, the Dow ending up more than 500 points, more than a full percent, to end at 46,706. S&P up by 71 points, and the NASDAQ, it was up 310 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Tito Nani.
No slowdowns at the moment if you're traveling either north or southbound on I-15 throughout the Wasatch Front. We are starting to see some slow speeds, however, in Utah County. This is in Lehigh if you're traveling east on Pioneer Crossing to get to I-15. Looks like there seems to be a little bit of a congestion there at the moment. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
A lot of sunshine, mild weather over the next few days. Looks like today's high 55, climbing to 65 by Wednesday, 67 on Friday, before more showers are expected on Saturday. 54 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Jim Weber is here from Foothill Oriental Rugs. And Jim, it's always exciting to have you here because then we know it's the semi-annual sale. First of all, you are one of the very few direct importers.
You hear that old cliche, we cut out the middleman, and what it enables me to do is I get better merchandise, more unique merchandise, even have a lot of things specifically made for me, and I can offer them at prices 25% below the industry average. So it's a win-win for me, and it's a win-win for my customers.
What have you got on sale for us?
A 9x12 Tibetan contemporary rug, retail price $95.04, on sale for $28.51. A 5x7 Pakistani silk rug, retail price $24.79, on sale for $9.85. If you've ever needed a rug, this is a great time to come in and look at rugs because our retail prices are better than the industry and average, and right now they're marked down up to 70% off.
Don't miss out. The semi-annual sale is underway now at Foothill Oriental Rugs, 1460 South Foothill Drive, just south of Foothill Village.
Make game day yours with the Utah Mammoth app. Get your tickets, order food and drinks without leaving your seat, track live stats, and stream every game with Mammoth Plus, all in one place. It's the ultimate game day essential, designed for Mammoth fans. Stay connected to your hometown team and never miss a moment. Download the Utah Mammoth app today on iPhone and Android. Turn on push notifications and make every day game day. Tusks up.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Amazon Web Services is recovering after a widespread outage took down multiple services, including Alexa, Ring, Reddit, Snapchat, Wordle, and many more. The issues appeared overnight when a large spike on Down Detector showed reported problems that took down many services that rely on its cloud computing power. ABC technology reporter Mike Dubusky says not all services are back up and running.
Yeah, so we fixed things and then things started to break again is basically where we started here. So to reverse back to overnight, around 1 a.m. Salt Lake City time, there was this major outage at AWS, Amazon Web Services. They are a cloud computing provider, meaning that Lyft, McDonald's, TD Bank, a lot of companies from around the world basically outsource their computers to AWS. If they need to run very compute-intensive tasks, if they need to do online banking or online ordering, they don't necessarily need to have the computers themselves to do that. They can basically, offload all that work to one of these cloud computing providers. That is the service that AWS provides. However, overnight, there was an outage that happened, some sort of disruption in their service. As you mentioned, a number of very popular apps and websites went offline. WhatsApp, Venmo, Hulu, DoorDash, Snapchat, and McDonald's among them, including Amazon's own website as well, and the websites that are related to some of their services like Ring doorbells. Now, experts say this does not appear to be a cyber attack. They have traced this problem back to a data center in Northern Virginia that was experiencing some disruptions, so doesn't appear that this was a nefarious act by any stretch. About 2 hours after the initial reports, AWS said that the issue had been fully mitigated and that most of the affected services were back up and running. So this was a pretty small affair, at least at first. You guys mentioned that this happened overnight, so a lot of Americans were asleep when this was happening. They might not have noticed that things were down. We also heard from many services in the UK, including the website that handles the tax servicing for the UK government. That went down as well. So it was a little bit more evident in Europe, which is obviously a little bit ahead of us. Now, however, according to Down Detector, which is a crowdsourced website that reports outages across the internet, it does seem like we're seeing another spike. This could be a new problem. According to Amazon, they are looking into it, but they don't have many firm details on what exactly led to this.
Dubusky tells Inside Sources the outage appears to be the result of a glitch in the system.
In the same way that occasionally you'll come across a typo in a major newspaper, there are problems in code, right? These are really complex systems that Amazon and others run, and mistakes will get made, whether that's intentional, whether there is a problem that arises that the engineers here could not have foreseen, remains to be figured out. To delve a little bit more deeply into the technical aspects of this, it seems like the initial outage was tied to this technology known as DynamoDB. This is a database service, and the nature of the problem had to do with a domain name service. And I know this is very technical, but stick with me. This is what translates web addresses that you type into a browser into an IP address. So instead of figuring out specifically what computer that you're trying to access when you're just trying to log into Facebook, you can type in facebook.com and it will take you where you need to go. So it's a really robust service. It underpins a lot of the internet. It seems like that translator, the thing that takes facebook.com and translates it into a thing that a computer can understand, it seems like that's where the problem lies here. A few hours later, and this seems to be the nature of the latest sort of reports of outages, Amazon also said they were experiencing API issues. This is a computer service that ties websites together. For example, if you're a restaurant and you have a website, but you also want to include where your restaurant is on Google Maps, for example, well, you need the API of Google Maps in order to do that. Seems like there might be some issues there as well. Again, this is an evolving situation, so a lot of this is left to be figured out. But guys, I think a really important thing to say here is that this is not unusual, right? In July of 2024, there was a huge outage that traced back to CrowdStrike, which was a cybersecurity firm. They pushed a faulty update that knocked a lot of Microsoft computers offline. This resulted in huge, delays at airports and flight cancellations and so on and so forth. We here at ABC were affected by that outage. AWS itself has had outages in 2023 and in 2021 and in 2020. Microsoft and Google, which also play a big role in the cloud computing space, have had their own incidents in addition to this.
He says Amazon's stock price has largely been unaffected today, and he says that shows while it's frustrating for consumers, these outages have become pretty normal. Well, the outages have been a big deal for businesses around the world, and I spoke with the director at the Center for National Security Studies at UVU, Brandon Amaker, about it.
These things are really interesting, and they can have kind of a cascading effect. It may not be that, in massive swaths of the internet go down, but you have a logistics company which is unable to fulfill orders because the service which they use to track orders goes down, and then that, over the long term will affect their customers, their clients, and kind of the flow of things downstream. So it can really start small, but over time, the longer these things persist, the greater kind of the economic impact and the disruption becomes.
So is there anything businesses like Amazon can do to prevent these things from happening?
There is, and they do take a lot of measures in order to try to build redundancy into these systems. The difficulty is it's just a very complex system to operate and to maintain service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So that is it's a balancing act, and I mean the massive amounts of load that they carry, keeping that up persistently can be difficult. However, they do take a lot of steps, including building redundant data centers, trying to have policies and procedures in place to mitigate the risk of this happening. But as you can see, you can never mitigate that risk down to zero, and even the best, most capable companies will struggle with this type of thing from time to time.
As an expert, what were your thoughts when you heard this had happened this morning, or when you couldn't get on your apps this morning?
These things are not necessarily surprising, although they're irritating. They do happen. It seems like you have one of these, maybe once a year, and the scale does fluctuate quite a bit. What will really be determinative of how big of a deal this is how long are these systems down for. If they can get it resolved this afternoon, this will be something that is obnoxious but not necessarily destructive. If these outages persist over a day, the negative effects compound over time. As you say, these all of a sudden things downstream start to be affected. There actually starts to be a more quantifiable monetary damage to this and reputational damage to some of these businesses, which are going to have to just have their services disrupted or halted for a time.
Brandon Amaker is the director at the Center for National Security Studies at UVU. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Attention, RV owners or RV wannabe owners. It's the used RV blowout sale. RVs from all over the Intermountain West have been sent to the Layton Hills Mall for this RV liquidation event. Repos, buybacks, rental returns, and trade-ins. Blowout pricing. Every RV has been inspected and serviced and ready to go. Free admission, free parking. Dealers welcome. It's the used RV blowout sale. This Wednesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to dusk. Go to UtahRVEvent.com. Sponsored by Paris RV. Paris RV is your locally owned, family-run RV dealership. We strive hard to find the very best RVs for the price. With 4 locations, over 1,000 RVs in stock, 42 service bays, and 4 super parts stores. We're sure to help take your family on the best RV vacation. Check out our perfect family bunkhouse trailer, the 26BH. That sleeps 9 for $19,995 or $227 a month. Zero down. Life is short. Enjoy it. North Murray, South Murray, Payson, and Pocatello. ParisRV.com.
Utah State University is taking a different approach to addressing domestic violence by focusing on those who commit it. KSL TV's Shelby Lofton tells us the goal of the Bridges to Change program is to reduce intimate partner violence by working directly with offenders.
To the topic of domestic violence, we're often telling you stories of survival or shelters helping victims. But a new program at Utah State is helping offenders.
Survivors would always say, I don't necessarily want to end the relationship. I want them to stop.
Experts at Utah State University believe their new program can help stop domestic violence. Their focus? The person choosing to use violence in their intimate partnerships.
It's not just anger management. It's not that simple.
Dr. Derek Tollefson explains the Bridges to Change program starts with learning someone's background.
We use an evaluation tool in Utah called the Intimate Partner Violence Risk and Needs Evaluation.
Everyone's treatment looks different. Some people will have individual sessions, others meet in groups. They'll also treat people over Zoom.
If they're lower risk, the treatment window is usually 5 to 12 sessions. A higher risk individual, those sessions could be up in the 30s or more.
Tanya Comer helped build the new program for domestic violence offenders, and she'll be working with them.
Mind body bridging really starts from the space of you're not broken, right? You don't need to be fixed. We just have to help you move into a more natural functioning space.
She says there's a shortage of providers who are willing and trained to treat these clients.
Working with someone who's done this to someone else can be really hard.
She and Tollefson said research shows this approach works.
These things are learned over time, and they can learn differently. People can change.
He studied offenders who went through the mind-body bridging treatment. He followed them for years after they did the program to see if they were rearrested. Tollefson says the recidivism rates were low, in the single digits.
It's ideal if you can get feedback from partners who are still with these individuals.
They said they're doing this work to make Cache Valley and the greater community safer.
This is just a space that gets kind of looked over a lot of times.
The clinic officially opens October 21st. In Logan, Shelby Lofton, KSL 5 News.
Coming up, more attacks on boats in the Caribbean and more questions about the justification. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito?
Good speeds with no spots of slowing, heading both directions on I-15 between Salt Lake and the point of the mountain. Utah County looking good as well as you make your way between Lehigh and Santaquin. And up north, traffic appears to be moving along just fine between Bountiful and Ogden. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's that time of year when you want to make sure that your furnace filter is clean and that your furnace is tuned up. And I want to tell you about the folks that I have been working with, and that is At Your Service Pros. I love these guys. This is a family-owned business. It's a local business. They don't upsell you, and they want to make sure that in these tight economic times, you're getting the best service at the best price. Right now, they are offering $49 furnace tune-ups, $39 electrical inspections, and $75 off electrical repairs. They'll also do second opinions. If somebody's given you an opinion and you think that their estimate is way too high, they'll give you a second opinion. And if your system can be repaired, they'll fix it for you as well. If it needs replacing, they'll just show you the most affordable options. And they want you to know also that the energy rebates are about to expire. So if you need a new furnace, this is a time to really take a look at some of those hybrid systems and the money that you can save. So let At Your Service Pros be your pro and go-to for heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. You can call them today at 801-YOUR-PRO or visit them at atyourservicepros.com.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
Cooler weather. What a relief. Unless you have old, drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill is going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact, like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic.
Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life.
I wanted you to know, from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now, that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app. It's sponsored by At Your Service Pros. The Trump administration's escalating strikes on suspected Venezuelan drug boats is now putting a strain on diplomatic relations with Colombia. On the Start Here podcast, ABC's Ann Flaherty tells Brad Milkey, or rather she outlines the evolving conflict with Brad Milkey.
I mean, September 2nd, that was the first strike, and it sort of took everybody by surprise. You know, President Trump put this on his Truth Social account. He showed video of it. It looked like a speedboat in the water. And then all of a sudden you see this giant explosion. And he says, well, we've just killed 11 people. And our intelligence says they were working for a drug cartel. He said they were with Tren de Aragua. And he says, and we've decided that they are terrorists. And, you know, everybody sort of is kind of scratching their heads because that's not something, obviously, that any U.S. president has ever done before, is used lethal military force against what is essentially a criminal organization. And then there are a couple other strikes the month of September. September 15th, he says that he's killed 3 terrorists, quote, terrorists in action. September 19th, another 3 people are killed. But then in the past about week and a half, everything starts to escalate very quickly. And essentially what we saw was there were more strikes. Trump becomes a little bit more aggressive in his posts. He's saying, you know, these boats were loaded up with enough drugs to kill 50,000 people.
So every time you see a boat and you feel badly, you say, wow, that's rough. It is rough, but if you lose 3 people and save 25,000 people, these are people that are killing our population.
He says in another strike that 6 people were killed. He says, you know, they were all with this illicit narco-terrorist networks, and he becomes very defiant. And then we start to get word that he's planning these military exercises off of the coast of Venezuela, that there were these Special Operations Aviation Regiment that was flying off of the coast of Venezuela. They're known as the Night Stalkers. They fly these MH-6 Little Birds, also Black Hawk helicopters. These are the type of helicopters that you would use if you were planning some kind of operation on the Venezuelan soil. And it was seen as very provocative. And then it even escalated from there. We got word that there were 3 B-52 bombers. These are nuclear-capable bombers that were flying essentially in circles off of the Venezuelan coast. So a lot of people took notice of this and thought, okay, is President Trump planning to go to war? Is he just trying to ratchet up pressure against the Venezuelan president?
Communications with the U.S. government is broken by them with their threats of bombs, death, and blackmail. This is not how we operate.
And of course, in the meantime, then you also had more strikes. So he says that he hit what he called a loaded up submarine filled with drugs.
That was a drug-carrying submarine built specifically for the transportation of massive amounts of drugs.
It was a semi-submersible, is what sources told me. Intelligence did show that it was carrying narcotics. So as everything is escalating, you also have, the president of Venezuela is speaking out against this and is exchanging tough words with Trump.
And now the Colombian president is getting involved, saying the U.S. has hit boats from his country and accusing President Trump of killing a fisherman. He's accusing the U.S. of essentially unlawful killing. And Ann says, in response, President Trump is threatening to cut off aid. Now, while you would think a missile strike would kill everyone on a boat, we've now learned that there are survivors.
Yeah, this was extraordinary. Last Thursday night, we got word that there, for the first time in one of these 7 strikes on vessels, and this was the semi-submersible, the sub that President Trump was talking about, 2 people had been killed, but 2 people survived. And the U.S. Navy took them into custody and put them aboard a Navy vessel. This greatly complicates President Trump's plan here, because when you take people into U.S. custody, they can challenge their detention in court, and unraveled all of President Trump's rationale here. Because, of course, one of the things that we were wondering is, who's going to challenge President Trump on this? If the Democrats really believe that it's illegal to use military force, who's going to stand up for drug cartels? That wasn't something that the Democrats seemed like they wanted to do. And then when 2 survivors showed up in this boat strike, you kind of thought, this complicates things greatly. And it does seem that Trump and his cabinet were sitting there just kind of trying to figure out what to do. And within about 36 hours, we got word on Saturday that they had been sent back to their home countries. And President Trump acknowledged this after it was reported in the press that Colombia and Ecuador had agreed to take these, what he called terrorists. And, of course, the question is, in what kind of war do you release terrorists? But in this case, he did.
Yeah, that's the thing, Anne, is I had thought of us as having a bad relationship with Venezuela, like for years and years, but I had thought of us as having a pretty good relationship with Colombia. Does that all change now? Like, how is this sort of affecting how these countries are talking to each other?
Well, this obviously makes people very nervous. And, I thought it was interesting that yesterday ABC's John Karl pressed House Speaker Johnson to say, don't you have questions about this? Do you want to pull anybody up onto Capitol Hill and to make them testify under oath? Because we still don't know who exactly are on these boats. We don't know what nationality they are. We don't know what they were carrying and where they were headed. And, I think in a very telling moment, Speaker Johnson said, no, I'm good.
Don't you have questions for him about Venezuela?
What about
Don't you have questions for him about what's happening in Venezuela? We have this build-up around Venezuela. We have the targeting of these boats. I mean, you must at least have questions about this. I know we have questions.
You have drug cartels bringing in fentanyl in boatloads of it that would kill potentially hundreds of thousands of Americans. What we're doing is restoring...
You have no questions about how they're doing.
No, I believe in peace through strength. I think that the president and the commander-in-chief is in charge of ensuring national security and the safety of the American people. And I think most common-sense Americans look at that and say, thank goodness. You take out one boat full of fentanyl, you save hundreds of thousands of American lives.
I think it's interesting when you have somebody like President Trump, who, part of the MAGA brand is to go America first, to not get involved in these international exploits. And at the same time, here we are, the past week, we are very much involved now in Latin America in a way that we never could have seen, a couple months ago.
ABC's Ann Flaherty says the president's provocative statements and increasing missile strikes has many wondering to what extent President Trump will use the military troops in that region. The BYU football team is back at work today, trying to put the thrill of the rivalry game win in the past and focus on a tough road trip this weekend to Ames, Iowa. KSL BYU insider Mitch Harper says the team knows that they have to move forward with more focus than they did after last year's rivalry game when they ended up losing to Kansas the next Saturday.
Can be draining on a team. I will say, though, that BYU came out of that game, relatively healthy compared to last year. Last year, the team didn't get to bed until around 6 a.m., whereas this past weekend, it was pretty normal schedule. They're used to these late-night spots.
Head coach Kalani Sitake says they are taking deliberate steps to refocus this week. Saturday's game kicks at 1:30 with our radio pregame starting at 11:30. And meantime, the Utes will be taking on Colorado, and their game will get underway at home at 8:15 p.m. It's going to be a late one and a 40% chance of showers right now. So we'll just have to see how that works out as well. It's 2:30, midday, KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Where's the beef and why is it so expensive? A plea for peace using a needle and thread. And KSL traffic. Tito?
Good speeds with no spots of slowing on all major valley freeways at this moment. Maria?
We have a mild start to the week with temperatures ranging today, 55 for a high, up to 65 on Wednesday. And then again, that chance of showers, a 40% chance of showers coming back on Saturday. It's 2:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franz, and police say they averted an attack today at Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International. Authorities say the family of suspect Billy Cagle warned them he wanted to carry out a shooting at one of the terminals. Atlanta Police Chief Darian Shearbaum says they arrested him without incident and later found an assault weapon in his vehicle.
There were 27 rounds that could have been fired from this weapon.
inside the airport.
The police chief says the family did the right thing by notifying authorities. Hamas transferred another body to Red Cross, and then the coffin is now in Israeli custody. It will undergo DNA testing to see if it's a deceased hostage. President Trump today warning Hamas to end the violence against Gaza and Israeli forces, or he will make sure they are eradicated. It is day 20 of the federal government shutdown. Democrats and Republicans deadlocked on restoring health care benefits. The Senate will take up another vote later today on a measure aimed at ending the shutdown. It is not likely to pass. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story: our housing shortage is set to get even worse unless we start changing our housing policies. That's according to a new report projecting builders won't be able to keep up with demand. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has more.
Over the next 30 years, we could be short over 200,000 homes. That's according to a new study by Envision Utah. CEO Jason Brown says they're actually glad to discover this because that means they can start doing something about it. It'll start with looking at open land and working to get infrastructure set up for development in those areas.
Brown says that's too big an undertaking for one organization, so this will need to be a collaborative effort, starting with updating housing policies and working with cities that have open land. The government has now been shut down for 20 days, and it's taking its toll on the economy.
Every week that the shutdown lasts, it causes our gross domestic product, or our national income, to lose $15 billion. So by the end of this week, that'll mean that we've lost $50 billion in GDP.
Zions Bank senior economist Robert Spendlove told me earlier on Midday that that's not that much compared to the national budget, but it's also almost impossible to recover from a loss that big. Taking a look at your money at this moment, no losses on Wall Street today. The Dow up by 515 points at the close to end at 46,706. S&P up by 71, and the Nasdaq was up by 311 points. Utah is exploring how a state-approved digital ID could work, and state leaders say they are doing it differently. Utah's Chief Privacy Officer Chris Bramwell says other countries have used digital IDs for surveillance, but Utah won't go down that path.
Our approach is unique in that we are the first state to prioritize security and privacy over everything else. If you can't do security and privacy, you should not do digital identity.
Bramwell says Utah is still testing technology and won't move forward until lawmakers are confident that residents' data will stay private. They hope to get this in the hands of Utahns within a year. We are learning more about the man accused of driving under the influence before crashing into a West Valley City church last night. KSL searched court records. We found 20-year-old Gabriel Manuel Gutierrez has 15 criminal and traffic cases on his record dating back to 2022. That includes accusations of fleeing from police, driving on a denied license, and driving over 100 miles per hour. He was taken to jail after last night's crash. A hunter has been rescued in Wasatch County after he broke his leg while hiking. Wasatch County Search and Rescue were called to a remote area near Big Hollow and had to get him out of the area on foot because the winds were too intense for a helicopter. Several agencies responded to help. Traffic and weather is brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito?
Good speeds heading both north and southbound in Salt Lake County on I-15 between Salt Lake and Draper. Up north between Ogden and Bountiful, looking great as well. Down in Utah County, traffic's starting to pick up just a bit. Looks like some spots of slowing as you travel northbound I-15 around the point of the mountain. No significant delays, however. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
A lot of sunshine over the next few days. Today's high 55, 61 tomorrow, all the way up to 67 by Friday. Right now, 54 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
I'm Jenny Oaks Baker, and I invite you to Joy to the World.
It was sacred, exquisitely beautiful, and Jenny's talent on the violin is unmatched.
Featuring choirs, dancers, and my children musical group, Family 4. Plus world-renowned mezzo-soprano Angela Brower and celebrated baritone and narrator Preston Yates.
It was just like emotionally stirring. The dancers, the singers, Jenny and her family, just bringing to life the beautiful music.
Experience a Christ-centered Christmas as we proudly support Light the World.
It's so beautiful to see how they use all of their talents to just testify of the Savior.
Get your tickets for Joy to the World, a sacred celebration at jennyoaksbaker.com.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
You were listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. President Trump says the United States could purchase Argentinian beef in an attempt to bring down prices for Americans. Beef prices are way up this year, with analysts blaming a combination of things: lower supply, higher demand, drought, cattle illnesses, and tariffs. We know the nation's cattle headcount is lower than it's been since the 1950s. So what is happening in Utah? I asked Utah State University beef cattle extension specialist Dr. David Sechrist.
Utah has really mirrored what's going on in the rest of the country. I'm sure that the cattle numbers in Utah are down, just like they are all across the United States. And it's just a general phenomenon that has really been going on since the 1970s as our cow herd across the country has reduced over time.
Describe for us what the driving factors are behind this reduced cattle head count.
You know, it's really just a matter of increased productivity that we've seen. We're actually produce just about the same amount of meat from nearly half the number of cows that we did in 1973. And that is a matter of increased productivity, better management, better genetics, and I would say utilizing technology to be able to produce more with less. And really all businesses have done that, but the U.S. agriculture and the beef industry specifically has really been a driver in being able to produce more with less. And that's been a big piece of it.
Are you also seeing ranchers who maybe are giving up on this because of the latest trends?
You know, right now, the ranching side of our business is quite profitable, but it is cyclical, and it does go up and down. So the return on investment from year to year is not always as consistent as I think some would like it to be. It tends to run in kind of 10, 12-year cycles. And so as you look particularly in the West, and I'd say especially in Utah, there's a big demand on land and for recreation, for urban growth. And so as this land becomes more and more valuable, the land seeks the highest and most valuable use, which oftentimes is not cattle production. And so as these ranches turn over from one generation to another, there is a big draw for that next generation to go ahead and just cash out. And that's to some degree what has happened as well.
So we're looking at beef prices that are way up this year, and analysts, of course, blaming a combination of factors. What do you see as far as beef prices, and is there a possibility they'll start to come down anytime soon?
Yeah, they are very high, and there's no question about it. And really, since if we go back to the COVID area when things really spiked, they haven't come down for consumers. And if we look back to that time frame, it was really just a matter of COVID throwing kind of a wrench in the whole production system, and things really backed up. It wasn't so much a supply issue, but that whole backing up of the system created a lot of lack of profitability for the cattle producer side of our business. And so numbers started to dwindle at that time. to where we are today, that cattle numbers are really tight across the U.S. and demand is high. And so really to get to your question, I don't see beef getting a lot cheaper in the next couple of years. It's the cattle supply is not rebuilt very rapidly just due to the nature, the biological cycle of the animals. It just takes time to be able to increase the number of cows and increase the amount of beef that's available to our consumer. So unfortunately for our consumers, I don't see a quick change to that trend.
So are there any efforts underway to help meet that demand for beef?
There's not a lot of government intervention in the beef industry, and so it'll really just be a supply-demand driven approach. And as the profitability right now, as I mentioned, is very high with the cattle producer side, that will entice more people to get into the business to retain the number of heifers it takes to build up their cow herds, and I think that will stabilize and then actually start to increase the number of cows that we have. But beyond that, I don't see a big change. I don't see a big change in that.
Yeah. Is there anything else that's really important for people to know about the cattle industry?
It certainly is real important to the Utah's economy and to the national economy as a whole. And it is a healthy business, despite talking about the declining numbers. Beef is still valued very much on the consumer side, and beef producers are continuing to want to produce a product. It's just, we go through these normal cycles that are ups and downs, and that's really what we're experiencing now. Is we're experiencing, as you mentioned, a low in cow numbers since back to the 1950s, well before I was born.
Dr. David Sechrist is a beef cattle extension specialist with Utah State University. 30 Rockefeller Center in New York City is hosting an art display featuring a Salt Lake City artist. The art display is part of NBC celebration as NBA games begin back on their network. NBC affiliate marketing coordinator Julia Kolendensky says the works of art are in the form of giant basketballs on top of 8-foot podiums. And if you didn't know the word rock is another word for basketball. So NBC is calling the display 30 Rocks at 30 Rock.
For the 30 different NBA teams for fans to kind of engage with on site, take pictures, really look at, read about the artists. And these 30 custom curated rocks, like rock art installations, were displayed right in front just to connect each NBA team with their artists and following that team's vision to what they want people to think of when they think of them. Following this activation, so post tip-off, the rocks are going to be gifted to each team for a homecoming media moment to connect their local audiences, especially since not many of the artists are able to come to 30 Rock since it's a hike.
The artist, Trent Call, is from Salt Lake City. He grew up watching the Jazz. His art takes inspiration from animation, pop art, graffiti, and outmoded Americana. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Right here on KSL News Radio 102.7.
Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. So you're invited to visit the movie show Friday 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
Posting an airport selfie on your social media accounts could ruin your vacation. KSL TV's Matt Gephardt takes a look at the risks.
The warning from this story is simple. If you are about to board a plane, don't tell your Facebook followers.
The Salt Lake City Airport
It's time for vacation. Very exciting. Okay, let's make sure we have everything. Suitcase, check. Passport, check. Ticket, check. Oh, don't forget the gratuitous airport selfie to post on social media and brag about it. Wait, no, don't do that, says Brian Long.
Attackers now, for the type of scams where they impersonate people, they'll often look on social media and see people that are posting at airports to know that those people are about to go on a flight.
Long is the CEO of Adaptive Health, a cybersecurity company. He says scammers have gotten very, very good at being very, very patient, waiting for their window to strike. And that post you put on social media opens that window.
They'll wait for them, 20 minutes or whatever it is, 45 minutes for the flight to take off. And then they will, attack their family members pretending to be them.
Yeah, scammers love to reach out to a traveler's friends and family and say they ran into a snag on the trip and need help, need to be wired money. The scam works particularly well, Long says, because somebody that's on an airplane is usually out of reach for a few hours.
When they try to call, their actual cell phone to verify it, it'll go through to voicemail because they're on the flight.
Really, it's a good idea to keep your vacation off of social media altogether, at least until you get back. But for sure, skip those airport selfies.
Airport selfies are a no-no for us.
Airport selfies are particularly dangerous. People love doing it, right? Because it said they're excited to go on a trip. But yeah, that is one of the biggest ones.
Imposter scams are the most reported type of fraud in the U.S. right now, according to the Federal Trade Commission. It says just last year alone, over $2.9 billion was reported lost to imposters. If you got a problem you can't solve, give me a shot. Edit the number, 385-707-6153, or you can email me, matt@ksl.com.
Up next, how a growing movement is using quilts to spread a message of peace. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito?
All Valley Freeway still in great shape. No slowdowns in either direction on I-15 as you make your way in between Provo and Ogden. Good speeds as well if you're traveling east or west on I-80 between Park City and Tooele. And no issues as you make your way north or south on Bangerter and the Bangerter Highway and the Mountain View Corridor. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Shop with any Mountain America credit or debit card for a chance to win a $5,000 vacation voucher. Simply tap, insert, swipe, or click to be entered to win now until October 31st. Use any card, win any trip from Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/anycard for official rules or to apply. Loans on approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility. Insured by NCUA. Limited time offer. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time.
Help DEA keep our communities safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, October 25th. Take action right in your own home by cleaning out your medicine cabinet of unneeded medications. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent prescription drug misuse before it starts. That's DEATakeback.com.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it.
But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
You do countless things without a second thought to protect your family and home. Every time you're in the car, you buckle your seatbelt. Before the next load of laundry, you remove the dryer lint. When you head out, you always lock your doors. And one simple task, done far less often, can protect your family and home this winter. Schedule a furnace inspection by a certified heating contractor to check for safety and efficiency. A friendly reminder from Enbridge Gas.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A cross-partisan community of women is working to protect the checks and balances in the U.S. Constitution through quilting. The Women Building Peace movement has women holding an interfaith quilt-in hopes of preserving our constitutional rights one fabric piece at a time. I spoke with the director of Women Building Peace, Alexis Bradley, to learn more about the effort and how it got started.
It actually started with a professor in Provo, Utah, who was feeling like she wanted to do something. She wanted her voice to be heard. She was worried about constitutional protections and asking our leaders to please uphold them. And so she put together this little quilting event downtown Provo. About 100 women came, and it was so wonderful that it has just grown and grown and grown. And we've been able to have quilting events all over the nation. We were able to get quilt squares from all 50 states, and women have used it as this creative letter writing project where they're writing letters on quilt squares as constituents to their congressional leaders, asking for our constitutional rights to be upheld. They're talking about due process, freedom of speech, human dignity, checks and balances, and it's just been something really exciting that has been hopeful and community building.
Explain how quilting and upholding the Constitution go together. Why do those two things work?
Well, I think the idea was connecting some of the history of quilting with women's movements and how throughout history women have used the art of quilting to storytell, to share their thoughts and feelings, and also fundraise. Like even the suffragettes raised a lot of money for their efforts through creating quilts, selling quilts, and also holding conversations around quilting. When they're gathered together, quilting together, you're able to have conversations and to build connection even within differences of opinions. We have women, this is cross-partisan, so women from different political parties are all welcome here.
So how does it work? How do people get involved?
So we have a website, Women Building Peace, and we also have an Instagram account. And you can come and you can decide if you want to host something in your home, if you want to attend one of our bigger events. We've had events all over. We just had an event in Nashville. It was an all-night quilting event, and we had over 120 women come and participate and quilt and write letters and postcards. And so you can join us through any of those ways. We're really encouraging women to hold these in their homes and to also attend bigger events that we hold, and we notify women through our newsletter of what's going on.
How did this small event here in Utah spread to become a nationwide movement?
Right now, people are wanting hope. They're wanting to feel like they can do something, they can use their voice, and craving community. And I think that seeing the excitement and the hope that came from these women in Utah gathering together and quilting and writing these letters, and then we showed the delivery of these quilts to Washington, D.C., and we met with staffers and senators and different congressional leaders. And it was just something that I think people were craving, and it caught on through the visuals and the storytelling that we've been able to share online. Women from all over have wanted to participate.
So describe for me, you kind of told me how people can get involved, but when they sit down and they're quilting together, so are they putting together one big quilt all together with their different messages, or kind of describe how that looks?
Yes, so we create a quilt for each congressional leader. So we've delivered quilts to our senators here in Utah. We have delivered quilts, women from all different states. And so we'll make one quilt for one person, and all of those letters are constituent letters that we write on the quilt squares. And so we're delivering completed quilts with messages of peace and messages requesting that we are upholding our constitutional rights and guardrails and protections. And we want all of those in place. And some of the messages are very personal. And then we deliver completed quilts. And some have maybe received more than one quilt. But the goal of these women is they want to blanket Congress. And as we've delivered them, we've seen the response. It's been very positive. It's when we're saying, these are letters from your constituents written on quilt squares. Some senators have displayed them in their offices. Some have just treasured them. And so it's been really, really exciting and hopeful. And it just keeps spreading this positive feeling of community and that our voices can be shared.
So when is your next event?
So right now we're getting ready to launch a postcard campaign that is similar to the quilting, but we're doing these really cool kind of retro postcards with messages on them, and we will be delivering them all throughout this year and next year. And also as the quilting continues, we will be delivering those quilts as well. So we will most likely have an upcoming event next month in Arizona. We're still planning. And then we'll be doing a delivery this year in Washington, D.C. And then next year, there are just even bigger, exciting plans as we move forward to the 250th anniversary of our country.
Any final thoughts for us?
We just want people to feel hopeful, and we want them to reach out, to meet with their neighbors, to have conversations within families and friends, and just be reminded that even within difference, we can find common ground and connection. And that's the message that we're trying to spread through this quilting.
Alexis Bradley is the director of Women Building Peace. And you know what? Have you noticed, Jeff Kaplan, that trick-or-treating isn't just for kids anymore?
Wait, there are parents going out?
Oh, no. In Michigan this past weekend, it was the dogs that got dressed up for the annual Halloween event that was sponsored by a local pet store. They wore a variety of costumes, including one dressed up as Elvis Presley, another like Scooby-Doo's Time Machine. I saw one riding around in one of those little kids' cars. Pretty fun stuff. They paraded through Lansing's art district, stopping at stores and restaurants for treats, and everyone walked away with a bucket of biscuits.
Anytime we try and dress up my dogs, they seem miserable.
Oh, yeah, they won't keep it on. I even tried like